knocking it off the hinges and causing the damages to the gate.
Did you go right outside and confront her?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
But did she open herself up to more trouble?
I finally had to call the sheriffs because her roommate and her were very aggressive with me.
It's never been like that. It's...
Just tell me what it is.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Maria Hernandez is suing her neighbor, Stephanie White, for damaging her gate when she ran into it with her vehicle.
Order. All rise. It's case number 522 on the calendar, the matter of Hernandez versus White. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat. You're welcome.
Ms. Hernandez, do you own your home?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And you share a common driveway with the defendant?
No, we do not.
Do you have a photograph
Yes,
of
I
where
do.
she lives as opposed to where you are?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
This is my house. And that's their house with their driveway.
So you're next door to each other?
Correct. That's how close we are.
And it is your claim that the defendant backed into your iron gate.
She ran into it
Forward.
and
damaged it. You wanted to pay for the damage. And Ms. White says she never did that, and she's got a counterclaim for harassment and for filing a restraining order against her.
Correct.
How long have you been neighbors?
They moved in April, so it's only been a couple of months from April till now.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for 20 years.
Are you renters?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people are in the house?
It's me, her, and our children.
How many children do you have?
I have one, and she has two.
Is this the first house that you've rented together?
Yes, ma'am.
This incident happened on what date?
This happened on December the 3rd of 2015.
Tell me what happened.
That morning, Your Honor, I was looking out of my window when I saw Stephanie Ann White proceed to get into her burgundy Toyota Camry. And when she moved from where she was parked, because she was parked across the street from her house. And when she made the turn, she made the turn really fast into my driveway.
You mean she made a U-turn?
Well, if it would have been a complete U-turn, she wouldn't have to gone into my driveway. But when she made the turn, she made it exactly onto my driveway to make that turn, to throw a reverse and park it on the outside of the street.
Oh, so there's alternate side parking?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that from one side of the street to the other that morning?
Yes.
What time did you get out to move the car?
It was about 8 or 7:35, I believe.
Is that what time it was?
7:30, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, she got in her car, she drove up the driveway really fast at accelerated rate speed, hitting my gate, knocking it off the hinges, and causing the damages to the gate.
Did you go right outside and confront her?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. I ran down my stairs because she was going into her house at a speed rate when I stopped her and said, no, you need to come out and we need to address this issue. You just
What
hit
did
my
she
gate.
say?
She says, yes, I did. I hit your gate. And she said that she was going to pay for it and she was going to have
Well,
her
just a
child-
second. First, she was going into her house. She
yes.
did, in fact, then park her car.
Yes.
So while you were coming downstairs, you were upstairs?
Yes.
She parked her car
Yes, she did.
and went into her house.
She was
going into
in the
her
way
house.
into her house, yes,
And you stopped her exactly where?
when she was opening the door.
You remember her stopping you that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to tell me the conversation that you recall having with her?
That morning, I pulled in.
No. That's not what I asked
Sorry.
you. Pay careful attention to my question.
Okay.
I said, do you remember the conversation you had with her as you were opening the door to your house?
Yes.
Well, tell me the conversation.
The conversation, I turned around because she started yelling at me. I wasn't aware of what was happening because I did not hit her gate. She came yelling at me. She claimed, you hit my gate, you hit my gate. And I was like, excuse me, no, I didn't. And she's like, yes, you did. And I was like, I didn't. How can you claim that I hit your gate if you weren't here and there's no one out here? I didn't do anything. I'm just parking my car. And she's like, I know you hit my gate. And I was like, okay, I didn't do anything. I'm just going to go inside.
Did you look at your car?
Huh?
Don't say huh. When she said that you hit her gate,
Yes.
did the two of you go to look at the front of your car?
No, ma'am.
Well, wouldn't you say to her, if I hit your gate, there'd be a mark on my car?
Yeah, but she was just screaming. So I just tried to avoid the problem, and I just wanted to go inside. I told her if she had an issue.
So what did you say to her?
I told her it was true to call the police.
And?
And she did not call the police.
You did not?
No, Your Honor, because when I told her she had hit the gate, she started crying, and she says, I'm sorry, I hit your gate. I'm going to pay for it. My dad and I are going to pay for the gate. She started crying. I said, okay, you're admitting to hitting the gate. We'll arrange and have payments to fix the gate. That's why I didn't call the police at that moment.
So she didn't call the police?
No, ma'am.
Well, that would seem to bear out the conversation that she's describing. Do you have insurance on your car?
Yes, ma'am.
On December the 3rd?
Yes.
So if you had hit her gate, the insurance would have covered that?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose car was it?
It's my car.
What kind of car do you have?
I had a burgundy Toyota Camry. I always had issues, and that's why I only moved it from site to site on street sweeper days.
What do you mean it had issues?
It needed to be registered, and I couldn't approve the smog, so I couldn't.
So that what you're doing is telling me a lie. When I asked you if it was insured, you said yes.
Yeah, I still had
Just
insurance.
a second. But you can't have insurance on an unregistered car.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Can I please have the photographs of the gate and the estimate to fix it, please?
Yes.
Did you have the gate fixed?
Not yet, Your Honor.
Okay. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for harassment and filing a false restraining order.
Yes.
Did you file a restraining order
Yes, I
against
did,
her?
Your Honor.
Could you tell me why, please?
I filed a restraining order against them because they were very aggressive verbally.
Did you file a restraining order against the defendant or the defendant and her roommate?
The defendant and her roommate.
And this one?
Yes.
You're the roommate.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Okay. There was one episode which is on Wednesdays is our trash day.
Just a second. Is this before or after the incident with the gate?
This is before the incident.
Go ahead.
So there was an issue with trash day. They would not let me put out my trash in front of their car, in front of their house. And I tried to ask them several times, can you guys give me space only once a week, which is on Wednesday, for me to put my trash cans out? And all I would get from them is verbal.
All right, so they said no. So that's not a reason for a restraining order.
No.
What else?
Then things proceeded to escalate. On September
September or December?
Now we're on to September. This is before the incident. September the 16th, 2015, I finally had to call the sheriffs because her roommate and her were very aggressive with me, calling me all kinds of profanity languages. Her roommate told me that she was going to, hurt me physically and for me to step out so we could.
Well, that's her.
Yeah. And then she continued to verbally be aggressive. So I called the sheriffs to see if the sheriffs could come and talk to them to inform them that there was no need for this type of aggression. That it was just one time a week that I could
Listen, they don't have to give you permission to park your garbage in front of their property.
It's in front of my property.
Well, then why do you need their permission to do that?
Because they park their car there, and then I can't put it on there, and they get upset because I have to put my trash cans on the side. I did call the trash...
I'm not understanding. She wants to put her trash cans out on the street, which is what she has to do, and you object to that because you can't park your car there?
It's never been like that. It's...
Just tell me what it is, not what it isn't. What is it?
Can I explain it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. She wants to put her trash cans outside. That's fine. She can go ahead and do it. But she tries to get crazy on us when we come home. We wanted to park the car. I was going to move her trash cans and put them right back so I wouldn't hit them. And when I was going to put my car, she got aggressive on me and put the trash can anyway.
Just a second. You can't touch her property.
No, I was going to move it so I could
You can't touch her property.
Oh, okay, then that's fine. I wouldn't have touched it.
Just a second. You can't touch her property. This is you mean this whole kerfuffle is over a garbage can?
She's with the garbage can. Yeah.
Well, it's ridiculous. You can't touch her property. If a neighbor... If
I didn't touch it, though.
Don't speak to me. Unless I'm asking you a question. Then you can speak to me. There's only one attitude here, and I get paid for it. You don't. So, if I put my trash out, and for whatever reason my neighbor wanted to park in front of my house where my trash was, and touched my garbage cans to move them, I would say that they park someplace else. Maybe. I probably wouldn't, but I certainly wouldn't get into a hissy fight over it. Now, after September, was there any incident after December?
Yes, Your Honor.
On what date did you file for a protective order?
I filed it...
Okay. Tell me the incident upon which you based your protective order.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Well, her daughter was probably as outraged as I am.
But you know what? There's prior bad feelings between her daughter and I.
I don't care. What difference does it make? You're a mooch.
I am not a mooch.
Yes, you are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maria Hernandez says,
Her neighbor, Stephanie White, damaged her gate when she hit it with her car. Stephanie is countersuing for a false restraining order.
Tell me the incident upon which you based your protective order.
On that Sunday, the neighbor, Marilyn, brother was at home. And I was arriving at my house, pulling in, when her brother came out of the house and was staring at me aggressively. So I said, you know, is there a problem? Can I help you? And he just went off and said...
Well, that's the brother.
That's the brother. He came down the steps, and as close as you can...
I don't care about the brother. Them.
Okay. Well, I put it on there because the brother said he was going to sock me in the face because of the issue with the gate, that I was causing too many problems. And so therefore I said I need to put a restraining order because they're either going to become aggressive and hurt me or my family, or the brother is.
Okay, fine. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim for filing a false protective order is denied. Thank you. We're done.
Thank you, Anna.
Or is that excused? You may step out.
As neighbors, we have to get along in order for us not to have any
I just hope she leaves us alone. That's where I've been.
any conflict between each other and live
I never bother anybody,
in a safe environment.
and it's just, I hope she doesn't either.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Reed versus Gillespie. Step forward.
Nancy Reed is suing her niece, Amanda Gillespie, for unpaid credit card charges.
Miss Gillespie, how old are you?
45.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a medical assistant, but I'm unemployed right now.
How long have you been unemployed?
For about 6 years.
How do you support yourself?
I was married for a while. My husband supported me.
Well, you're not married now.
I'm staying with some friends, and I'm looking for a job.
When was the last time you worked? What year?
2011.
So I'm going to ask you again. How do you support yourself?
My husband was supporting me.
Until when?
Until about 3 months ago.
How long were you married?
16 years.
Did you work during the 16 years that you were married?
Mostly no.
You have children?
Yes.
How many?
Well, I raised 6, but I have 3 biological children.
How old are they?
My son passed away last year. He would be 26. I have a 19-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter.
Does your 13-year-old your aunt?
Yes.
Did you live with her?
Briefly.
From when to when?
A couple of days before Thanksgiving last year until the Thursday before Christmas of last year.
When you were no longer with your husband?
Correct.
Your aunt gave you a credit card.
Multiple credit cards.
How old are you?
81.
How do you support yourself?
I live on Social Security.
How much do you get from Social Security?
726 plus 23, $47.
Do you own your own home?
No.
So you rent?
Yes, I am renting. I have help with my rent from HUD.
What kind of work did you do?
I was a high school teacher.
Until when, Ms. Reed?
Until 1978.
And then what?
Then I just took odd jobs. I managed departments for a while. That's mostly it.
When did you stop working?
Well, I still haven't really stopped because I am a member of the Federal Senior Corps, and they have a division called Foster Grandparents. And what we do is we go into the schools and we take kids that need help with reading and math, and we try to bring their scores up.
You tutor them.
So I work 6.5 hours a day at that.
And you get paid for that?
I get a stipend of $2.65 an hour.
Okay. So this is what happened. Your aunt gave you multiple credit cards when you came to live with her for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
$3.92. She wants it back.
She said it was a gift. She said I didn't have to pay it back.
Well, let me explain something to you, Miss Gillespie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I couldn't buy Christmas for $300.
It's the thought that you don't have to buy Christmas presents for your children for $2,600. That's what you do when you're working with OPM. You know what OPM is?
No.
Other people's money.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nancy Reed says her niece, Amanda Gillespie, owes for unauthorized charges she made on her credit card. Amanda claims Nancy approved the charges.
Let me explain something to you, Miss Gillespie. An 81-year-old person who lives on Social Security and does work 6 hours a day for a small stipend to supplement that Social Security isn't going to support in any way, in my America, a 45-year-old able-bodied, unemployed person who has been unemployed for her whole life, effectively. Unemployed her whole life. So you got to get a job.
She knew I didn't have a job.
Just a second.
When I got
you
the,
got,
when I
just
did
a
the
second.
bill.
Don't tell me what you knew. I'm telling you, you got to get a job.
I'm trying to get a job. I've been to 2 interviews last week.
A 40-year-old person can get a job. A 45-year-old able-bodied person can get a job.
I agree.
You may not like the kind of job you can get, but you got to get a job. And if you were married for 16 years, and if a lawyer that you're talking to says, well, I wouldn't get a job right now because it might interfere with whatever maintenance that you may be or may not be entitled to, I'm telling you, it's unreasonable for you. Your aunt says you needed it. She gave you the credit card. In her complaint, unless you're calling her a liar, she says that she said, buy the kids Christmas presents. Don't spend more than $300.
I don't remember her saying that at all. $300. I couldn't buy Christmas for $300.
You haven't earned $300 in 20 years. What do you mean you can't buy Christmas presents
I
for
was a
$300?
stay-at-home mom. That's a job in itself.
That's fine unless you're asking an 81-year-old person to support you.
No, she was helping me out in my time of need.
I know that sounds better. I know that sounds better. But a 19-year-old doesn't need a Christmas present from his unemployed mother.
Yes, he does.
Then get a job. Christmas time. Go to a fast food place and get a job Christmas time and buy him a present for $10. It's the thought that counts. Didn't you ever hear that?
Yes.
Well, it's the thought that counts. You don't have to buy Christmas presents for your children for $2,600. That's what you do when you're working with OPM. OPM is other people's money. Then you can afford to be extravagant.
We never had an agreement that I would pay it back. Nothing.
My America, you're going to pay it back. Can I see the bills, please?
I'd like to see them too because I don't know. How do I know those are all my charges?
But you told me you were keeping the receipts.
Just a second. I'm going to look.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you in a family dispute? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you use any of these credit cards?
No.
Okay, show this.
And she kept telling me she was going to get a job and pay me back.
I tried to get a job. I was only there for a month.
Did you give her a debit card?
Yes.
When I kicked her out, she was trying to find a place.
She kicked me out and I had to stay in my car.
She was trying to find a place in Oxford House, and I let her have my car to go to Vancouver, and I gave her the debit card, and she did keep telling me she was going to get a job and pay me back, and she's always gotten jobs when she wanted them before.
According to her, she doesn't work. She hasn't worked in years.
Because I was with my husband. But prior to being with my second husband, I worked and supported myself and my sons, and that's the time she's talking about. I lived with her frequently. I've lived with her for a place. This is all because of her daughter. She would not be suing me today if it was not because of her daughter.
Well, I read that in your answer. So this is what you said in your answer. Her daughter was going through her bills and she saw all of these charges. And she said to her, what is all this about? This is $2,600. And you say she probably was embarrassed to tell her daughter that she gave you these credit cards, so that's why she's suing you. That's what you wrote in your answer.
Yes.
Well, her daughter was probably as outraged as I am.
But you know what? But her daughter is A, it's none of her business, and B, there's prior, bad feelings between her daughter and I.
I don't care. What difference does it make? You're a mooch.
I am not a mooch.
Yes, you are.
No.
When you take money from an 81-year-old person who lives on Social Security, you're a mooch.
She's not a regular
2643, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Excuse me, step back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm really sorry that she did this.
Well, she gave this to me as a gift.
I feel a little stupid that I didn't catch on for it sooner.
I was never supposed to pay him back. How was I going to pay him back? I don't have a job.
I didn't get the bills till later, and my daughter didn't call me and warn me what was happening until...
Well, there never was an agreement. She never told me how much I could use.
Later, and when I found out, I just told her. I'll always love her. But twice she's called me since then.
I hope that it's all just done and over with and we can continue on with our lives.
From Vancouver to ask for money.
No, I'm never going to ask her for money again.
And I went.
I can't defend my daughter for what she's done, and I don't.
Her kids gone.
You had children together.
They lived with me up until 2005 when I was arrested for DUI.
Job? None.
I assume that you do not pay child support.
It came directly out of my disability.
And an addiction.
What did you test dirty for at the probation violation?
Methamphetamine.
Paid for by taxpayers.
You had to be using my money to buy drugs.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Justin LaBreche, is suing his ex-wife, Molly LaBreche, and her mother, Juanita Wilmes, for an unpaid loan for bail and for damaging his credit.
Order. All rise. It's case number 538 on the calendar, the matter of LaBreche versus LaBreche Wilmes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mr. LaBreche, you're her mother.
Correct.
And you are suing both of them because, from what I read, after your divorce, your former wife was arrested and you bailed her out. It is your claim at the request of both her mother and herself, and that both of them agreed that they would be responsible for the bail if you posted the initial bail, which I think you said was $1,000. Is that right?
Mostly.
Tell me where it's mistaken.
It's a slight mistake. Nita Wilmes did specify that she would not pay the bill, but she would talk to me, keep in communication so that we could make sure that Molly paid the bill. And Molly promised that she would pay the bill.
Molly is your former wife?
Molly is my former wife, yes.
Okay. First, let's backtrack a bit. Miss LaBreche, what were you arrested for and when?
Petty theft in 2008.
Is that the only time you were arrested?
No, ma'am.
Is that the instance that we're talking about here?
No, ma'am.
Well, when were you arrested on the incidents that we're talking about here?
In 2013.
What were you arrested for?
Violation of probation, drug-related. I was dirty test.
And what kind of jail time were you looking at?
About 180 days in jail.
Had you ever been incarcerated before for that period of time?
No.
Up until that time, what was the longest period of time that you had been incarcerated?
About a week.
And how long had you and your husband been
separated in 2001, and I believe our divorce finalized within a year to 2 years later.
And you have children together?
Correct.
How many?
2.
And they live with your husband?
Correct.
Former husband? And
Correct.
they've always lived with your former husband?
Not always, no. When they were young, they lived with me up until 2005. When I was arrested for DUI.
He was awarded custody of the children?
Correct.
And they've remained with them since?
Yes.
I assume that you do not pay child support, is that correct?
I do, actually. It was just ordered.
Up until this year, which is 2016, were you paying child support?
Yes, I was.
When?
I was paying in 2014, I believe. I was paying for about a year, $100 a month, $50 per child. And it came directly out of my disability.
What's the nature of your disability?
I have physical disabilities, back problems, sciatic nerve damage, other disabilities.
How much do you get from disability?
Approximately $928 a month.
And when did that start?
I applied for it in '99, but I was granted it in 2004.
How old are you?
49.
Now, how much does she owe on her bond?
The number I have is 4,786. I made a slight error. It's 4,871.
Why didn't you pay the bail?
I didn't have the money at all.
Well, you have $928 a month. You have enough to pay something.
It's barely enough to live on.
You were arrested for drug use.
Correct.
In 2013. For
Correct.
using drugs.
Correct.
That suggests to me that you had enough money to buy drugs.
Okay.
Well, if you have enough money to buy drugs in addition to your food, then you had enough money to start paying back your bail. Now, drug addiction is an illness. I couldn't help myself. But now I read in your answer that you've been clean and sober for 6 months.
Correct.
Well, if that's correct, why don't you take the money that you've been using for your taxpayer money, that you've been using since 2004, when you started to collect disability, and you were using it to buy drugs, because if that's your only source of income, then you had to be using my money to buy drugs, right?
No, it was prescription drugs also. Prescription medication, too.
So what? You're still using taxpayer money to fund your drug habit. And it's great that that burden has apparently been lifted from you for the last 6 months, but now you have all that money left over. Now, were you ever arrested for anything other than prescription drugs?
No.
Were you ever violated for, you have that?
I have 6 different things from
I'd like to take a
El
look
Dorado
at it.
County only. There's more in Sacramento I don't have.
Have anything you want to say to me?
Yes, Your Honor. My daughter, and you know, she's had a troubled life. They had a very troubled marriage. It was pretty much doomed from the beginning. They both did drugs together. They both did a lot of bad stuff. They were like train wrecks from the very beginning. And I can't defend my daughter for what she's done, and I don't. I didn't know that she went to jail this time. I didn't know someone bailed her out. I didn't know anything about it. And I don't even know why I'm here.
Are you telling me that after being divorced for almost a decade and being the sole provider for that decade of his and your daughter's 2 children, and they were not together at that point, is that right?
At that point, but at the time she was arrested, they were cohabitating in an apartment and splitting rent.
Is what you're telling me in 2013 they were living together?
Yes, in Tahoe.
Is that correct?
I believe so.
What do you mean we believe so?
I'm not sure of the dates exactly on the time.
So what you're telling me is that after the divorce was finalized, you and your former husband were living together.
Correct.
And that was as late as 2013.
Yes, I slept in the living room on an air mattress. My boys shared.
Why you had that arrangement?
I have bad credit because of my past, and I had a hard time finding my own apartment. I couldn't come up with a deposit that they wanted to get into my own apartment, and I was having difficulty.
So how long did you stay with him and the children?
6 months to a year.
And the probation violation that you were arrested for in 2013, how did that come about?
I went in to visit my probation officer on an appointment, and they drug tested me, and I came up dirty.
So you were using drugs while you were living with your former husband and the children?
Yes.
Was he?
No.
How long has he been sober?
Well, he still uses pot.
Other than that?
For years, as far as I know.
What did you test dirty for at the probation violation?
Methamphetamines.
So is what you're suggesting to me that your former husband was being kind to you by letting you bunk in his house?
Yes. I was paying half the rent. I paid $450 a month.
Listen to me.
Yes,
Listen to me.
I'm sorry.
Do you know the reason I'm here is because I'm like a truth machine? None of this was in your complaint or the answer, okay? Certain things have a ring of truth to it. Certain things don't. She's not willing to cut herself any slack at all with regard to what she had dirty urine for, what was paying half the rent. I believe her. So you can shake your head until it falls off.
Okay, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Now, what kind of work do you do?
The moment I'm on disability, I got PTSD from my childhood, and I suffer from depression because of it. The stress from dealing with my children, and they're both ADHD, and one's in jail right now, so there's been problems.
So is what you're trying to tell me that if I give you $4,786, because your only source of income is disability, is that correct?
At the moment, yes.
Well, how long has it been?
2013.
And how much do you get from disability?
At the moment, I only got $1,300 for me and him.
So right now you have $1,300. And if I award you $4,786, it's going to come out of her disability that I'm paying for. I'm just trying to follow the money here. And you're concerned because your credit has been ruined because you found out that this is on your credit because you co-signed for the bail. Is that right?
Well, I started paying right away, and my credit is not messed up. But
now I would like to see, just for my own information, proof of payments for the last 3...
Oh, there's one more. I'm sorry.
I want to see the information from the bail bondsman from whom you're paying this. Can I see this, please? Officer Bird, would you please read out to Mr. Lebrecht the telephone office number on this document that he just gave me to $4,786 on this credit. Could you read out this phone number?
714-7714.
It's not in this country. I don't know what country it's in.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You mean she agreed to give you the $300?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Not necessarily.
What does that mean, not necessarily? Don't be stupid.
Sorry, I'm trying to process, so I word this correctly now.
Just word me the way it happened.
He didn't...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin LaBreche says ex-wife Molly LaBreche and her mother, Juanita Wilness, owe for bail money and for damaging his credit.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm dismissing your whole case, Mr. LeBrecq, on the following basis. First, you said that the bond, what was owed, is $4,786. If I believe any of this baloney, then this page that you gave me from a telephone number that is non-existent in this country, which says that the current balance is $1,588.
Bail bonds, it went into collections. I started paying it right away as soon as it went into collections. And I still have other debts that I have to pay. Our child is in jail. We have to pay $15 a day for every day he's in there. We're both obligated to pay it. I'm going to have to pay it myself.
Well, let me tell you.
All I want her to do is pay
Mr.
this.
LeBrecq, you're not going to pay it yourself for your child who is now in jail. You know who's going to pay it?
Taxpayers.
We are. Because the only way that you two people are supported is from the government.
I paid into the taxes. I'm going to pay into the taxes as soon as they graduate, and I can go back to work.
Goodbye. We're done.
Somebody's excused, and they step out. She begged me. I would have never bailed her out. With that history of hers, there's no way I would have bailed her out.
He has been a bully our entire relationship.
There's no way. I told her, there's no way. I cannot deal with this. I can't even. I'm barely going to pay my rent. I'm behind on bail.
If it's not his way, it's the highway.
And they're just like, whatever.
And he has to be in control, and everything has to be...
Because they don't give a rat's patootie about anybody but themselves.
What he wants and what he thinks.
She ain't clean and sober. I doubt it. I don't believe it a second.
I'm putting my life on a better path. I'm going upward instead of downward.
Anybody out there want to help her? Knock yourself out. Have fun with that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Glavin versus Anderson. Step forward.
20-year-old Grant Glavin is suing his ex-girlfriend, buying his cell phone, and taking his TV.
Mr. Glavin, I read your complaint. About 2 years ago, you and the defendant moved in together and you bought a television set. And you split the cost of the television set that you bought 2 years ago. How much did you put in?
$300.
And you put in $300.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you split up. Now it's 2 years later. She kept the TV and you want your $300.
Yes, ma'am. That was the terms that we agreed to when we split up and split all our stuff.
You mean she agreed to give you the $300?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Not necessarily.
Well, what does that mean, not necessarily? Don't be stupid. If either you agreed to give him $300 or you didn't agree to give him the $300.
Well, he said that he didn't necessarily need the $300 at the time when we were first...
Could you look at me? Don't look at the floor.
Yes, ma'am. When we were first going through the whole breakup situation, he said that it wasn't necessary to give him $300, and I offered, and then I changed my mind.
I want you to tell me exactly how it happened, and don't flumfer.
What does that mean?
Don't waff your answer.
I'm not waffing my answer.
Now, he says that you agreed when you were splitting up the property that you would keep the TV and you would give him $300, and your response to me was not necessarily. So now I want you to tell me exactly what happened.
Judge.
And I saw it with some girl from Orlando, and I asked to see the messages, and he said no. So I took the phone, and it was a conversation in regards to him cheating on me, and it made me very angry because he...
So you broke the phone?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Grant Glavin says ex-girlfriend Mona Anderson owes for a new cell phone and television.
So now I want you to tell me exactly what happened.
I offered to give him $300.
No, tell me what you said to him.
What I said
He
to him?
said, do you want the TV or do you want me to take the TV? If I take the TV, you give me $300. I want to know what was said, not I offered.
Sorry, I'm trying to process, so I word this correctly now.
Just word me the way it happened.
I'm telling you the way it happened. He didn't... I'm sorry, one moment.
I can tell you if you want, ma'am.
I offered. I didn't agree to anything, and he accepted my offer to give him back his money after he said, it's not necessary for you to give me the $300 when I was taking the TV.
What property did you keep that you would acquire together?
That we acquired together? The TV.
Okay. And what did you take?
I took nothing that we acquired together.
Is that correct?
Yes, but we only paid for the TV together.
Well, where is the TV now?
The TV is at my apartment.
At your apartment? Well, somebody's got to get the TV and somebody has to pay their share. And I don't know if it's $300, but if you agreed to give them $300, televisions depreciate. They don't stay the same. It's not worth the same now. If she went, you see, if neither one of you wanted the TV, Mr. Glavin, if neither one of you wanted the TV, what the court would do is say, you find somebody to buy it and split 50-50 the proceeds. That sounds fair, doesn't it? Because nobody's going to pay $600 for a television set that you bought 2 years ago and used for 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, do you want the TV?
Yes, I do.
Did you offer to give him the $300, and did he accept that offer?
He didn't originally, and then he did.
I did accept the offer.
Originally?
Originally, I accepted the offer. Originally, she said... She was the one that made the original offer of $300. I told her I don't necessarily need the money, but I will accept the offer. And that was the final terms.
Okay, fine. Now, you want to go into this telephone?
Yes, ma'am. When we were still living together at my parents' house before she had moved out, she had taken my phone.
On what date?
On what day?
What date?
I don't know an exact date. Very late October.
Did you stop? Late October, she left.
Late October. And she saw a text from one of my friends from Orlando, and it made her very mad. And she took the phone and she pressed it against a side of the dresser for leverage and snapped it in half. And after that, I paid the insurance cost, which was $150.
Tell me your version of the phone.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
We did live together after I broke the phone because we were still together. We were living at his parents' house at the time because we were in between leases. We were waiting for our next lease to start after our last lease had ended.
This was after our lease.
Yeah. And I was sitting next to him on the bed one night, or it was about the middle of the day, and he was talking to someone, and I asked who he was talking to, and I saw it was some girl from Orlando, and I asked to see the messages, and he said no. So I took the phone, and it was a message. It was a conversation in regards to him cheating on me, and it made me very angry because he...
So you broke the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean...
Good. $450. $300 was an agreed-upon arrangement between the two of you for the TVs, which I'm not going to get involved with since you agreed to it, and $150.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
What I did was unforgivable. A lot of the things she did were terrible as well.
Because he's a cheater.
It is fair. It was a terrible, awful mistake.
My friends.
And I deeply regret it.
That he cheated on me.
The whole thing was a big mess. It became a big mess.
I don't know.
And it was a bunch of mistakes on both sides.
Yeah, sometimes I wish it would work out.
I don't know. Anything is possible. If in the future it happens, then hopefully it works out.
A doll collector caught playing games?
She sent the doll to you, and you paid for it. You disputed the charge and didn't return the doll.
If the bank did something without my knowledge, I don't know.
And a seller in the dark from the beginning.
Her original contact was through an alias of Frances Carter.
Have you used the name Frances Carter?
No.
I don't believe you.
31 different names that she's used.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
This Belkey is suing doll artist Cheryl Zegra for lost revenue, libel, defamation of character, and harassment.
Order. All rise. This is case number 521 on the calendar, the matter of Belkey versus Zegra. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Belkey, you purchased a doll And you ordered this doll from the defendant who made it for you. She sent the doll to you, and you paid for it by a credit card?
Yes.
And then you looked at the doll, and you said, well, I don't think I like the doll. So you canceled the credit card charge.
Yes.
And the doll was over $2,000. So now you have the doll, and Miss Zigra doesn't have any money. So far, that's correct.
Correct.
And then, according to you, sometime later, you changed your mind. So you told the credit card company you were no longer disputing the charge.
Correct.
How much later?
Maybe 2 to 3 weeks later.
That's outrageous. Let's start out with that's outrageous. That 2 to 3 weeks later, you said, well, now I'm not going to dispute the charge anymore. So now they put the money, a month and a half later, they put the money back in her account. Now you have the doll, and she's been embarrassed because they took the money out, but now she's got her money. So far, is that all correct?
Pretty much.
Then the money was taken out of her account again. How much later?
I have no idea because I was not aware of this. I had closed my bank account after I sent it all back to her. And if the bank did something without my knowledge, I don't know. I asked for proof of the second chargeback.
Can I see the proof of the second chargeback,
Absolutely,
please?
Your Honor.
But that was not provided, was it?
I'm going to see it.
I also have a letter stating that the customer had to actually call and do a second chargeback.
I will take a look at that.
This shows the date where I was notified of the second chargeback on October 15th.
Right. Okay, $1,978.10 they took out of your account. Again, and that was on October 15th.
Yes.
And there were all kinds of service charges online for that. And do you have the letter from the bank?
I do, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it, indicating that the customer again asked for the charge back.
Well, I have it right here on my phone, so that's easy.
Great.
I'm sure that this wasn't something that just automatically was appealed. Here, I have it right here.
Great.
Unfortunately, your customer continued to challenge the dispute, and on 10/13, the case was resolved in your customer's favor.
May I see it, please?
In this paragraph, I believe.
The case was preliminarily resolved in your favor on September 3rd. Unfortunately, your customer continued to challenge the dispute, and on October 13th, 2015, the case was resolved in your customer's favor. Because this resolution is final, we no longer have rights within the credit card network to continue challenging this dispute. If you wish to challenge it further, it is within your rights to seek advice. Okay, great. So this says from the bank that she continued to challenge it.
Yes.
And the money was, in fact, returned to you. Yes, the money was, in fact, returned to you.
No.
Oh, yes, it was. Because then what happened is she went to the police and charged you with fraud. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the police contacted you. Is that correct? Did the police contact you?
No, it was the district attorney's investigator.
I don't care. Police, district attorney, law enforcement contacted you.
Yes.
And said either you return the money or return the doll. So you returned the doll.
No, that's not what they said.
Did you return the doll?
I did.
Just a
I
second.
returned it on my own.
Baloney. You returned the doll, and if you're standing there and telling me that you returned the doll but didn't get your money back from the credit card company, I'm prepared to call you a liar because you're not suing for that. You're not suing for the return of your money, which means you got it. You're suing her because you said that as a result of this dispute, this kerfuffle, she posted hateful things about you in the doll community on the internet. And so you're suing her for slander and loss of business, but not for the doll, which means you're a liar. Which means, that you did get the money back.
No, that's not the case.
Just a sec. Are you standing there and telling me that your credit card did not credit you with this amount again?
They did not.
Really? Are you suing the bank? Are you suing the credit card company?
No, because I sent the doll back.
I'm getting the feeling, Miss
it's real easy.
Belke, I'm getting the feeling, Miss Belke, that you didn't do the right thing. When you ordered that, you canceled it once, you canceled the charge. 3 weeks later, you decided, well, I'm not going to dispute it anymore.
I don't think she really canceled,
I don't know. Can I see an example of what you claim is harassment and cyberbullying? Give me an example, and then we're going to separate it from free speech, First Amendment.
And then I have this tape, too. I'm also contending she violated my privacy by posting my name, address, and checking account numbers.
I posted it to her to show her that I had something with her actual name and address on it. Because she did all this under an alias.
Would you show me what? This is a folder. I want you to show me an example. I don't want your whole story here. Show me an example of what you claim she did, what she posted. I want to see the post. You're talking about these?
Yes, there's many of them.
I was angry.
Well, she says to you, Miss Belke, you have a stolen doll, you're a thief and a liar, you did another chargeback, that means you have a doll and didn't pay for it again. You need to cancel the chargeback now. And then she wrote to you again, still suing you.
That was public online.
That's the way she felt. She said, you had the doll, and I don't have my money.
I did not do a second chargeback.
That's not what they said. Yeah, she wrote all over the place. She has a 9-year history of scamming people online. And if you send this thief off, she changed the eyes and added some hair, but we have confirmed that it's mine.
I also have a statement where she says, stop harassing me or I will start posting lies about you and your friends, which she proceeded to do, which has impacted my business and my reputation. Not to mention, messed around with my ability to do my business.
Do you use any other name when you trade in these dolls, Miss Belke?
No.
Do you use any other name at any other time?
For what?
For anything.
No.
I have witnesses who can attest that this woman has harassed myself and them under, we have so far 31 different names that she's used.
May I see them, please?
And her original contact of me through Facebook was through an alias of Francis Carter.
Have you used the name Francis Carter?
No.
I don't believe you.
I have the message right here.
Well, then it's over, isn't it?
It is.
I'm done.
It is. Your case is dismissed. You can go.
You're not listening to me.
I'm not.
And
you
this
have no
is-
case.
I have a tape here.
I'm not listening to you. You have no case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The message in your complaint is that she was bullying you, that you did a chargeback, that you never returned the doll.
I did not do a second chargeback.
Well, the bank says you did. Well. And the rent yourself because you work. In one day, you weren't so desperate as to have to take his property to the pawn shop and dispose of it. Can't do that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jonelle Belke says doll artist Cheryl Zegra owes for lost revenue, libel, and harassment over the sale of a doll. Cheryl is countersuing for her damages.
Now, you did the wrong thing. People aren't encouraged to do the wrong thing and then rewarded.
I sued her. Well, I'm confused. What are we listening to? Her as a plaintiff or me as a plaintiff?
Listen to me. I'm first listening to you, and I read your case, and your case was simple. You bought a product from somebody, they sent you the product, you looked at the product, and you decided...
I don't know if it was 3 weeks. It might have been a week, 2, or 3.
Whatever it was, you disputed the charge and didn't return the doll. You ate the steak, and you disputed the charge. Then you decided sometime later, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that you're going to dispute the charge again. First you stopped it, then you put it into place. Now she's got a yo-yo. Now she doesn't have your money, still hadn't returned the doll. The message in your complaint is that she was bullying you through the internet, calling you a thief, that you have stolen property, that you did a chargeback, that you never returned the doll. All of that is true. Now,
No,
the fact that you called... Yes.
It's not.
It is true. You say it's true. You swore it was true in your
I did
complaint.
not do a second chargeback.
Well, the bank says you did.
Well, they're wrong.
And it wasn't until the district attorney contacted you that you returned the doll. So if you don't like the fact that courts like to deal with people who have clean hands, It's called the doctrine of clean hands. When you come into court and you haven't done the right thing, courts are disinclined to hear your complaints. And I am disinclined because
I
you
understand
didn't do
that, but you're not hearing the truth.
I see the truth. You told me the truth, according to what you said. You said, I got the doll, I canceled the charge, and then I looked at it and I said, it wasn't so bad, so then I didn't.
I returned it to her so she would quit harassing me.
No, you didn't return it to the district attorney.
Lies about me online.
Listen, Ms. Pelkey, you didn't return the doll until after the district attorney contacted you.
In November.
You didn't return the doll. Now, I'm going to deal with the camera. I'd like to see it.
This is not the doll. I do have pictures.
I'm not looking at pictures.
Yeah. The doll was damaged by her, and I had to sell it. I had to repair it and sell it at a loss.
Then before you decided to sue her, in this case a countersuit, you should have preserved the evidence. I'm not looking at pictures. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your case is dismissed. So's your countersuit. We're done.
All right, Judge, excuse you may step out.
She had one foot way bigger than the other.
She was not dissatisfied. She wanted a free doll.
She's a poor businesswoman.
I'm just glad Janelle got what was coming to her. Absolutely nothing.
I wish I'd never purchased a doll from her.
I'm much more careful who I sell to.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walker versus Baker step forward.
23-year-old DeMonte Walker is suing his former live-in girlfriend, 22-year-old Alexis Baker, for selling his belongings and making false accusations.
Mr. Walker, you and the defendant lived together. You have a child together.
Correct.
Is that right? And you have another child.
Yes.
How old?
3.
So both children live with you?
Yes.
Okay, and how old is your child?
He is 11 months.
How long had you and the defendant been living together?
We've been living together for about a year and a half.
Did you move into her apartment? Did she move into your apartment? Or did you move into a place together?
At this time, it was her apartment.
How long had you been living in the apartment? Been living prior?
I was living with another relative.
This is what the case is about. You had an argument.
Correct.
The argument was on what date?
February 2nd.
And when you were living in the apartment alone, Miss Baker, how were you paying the rent?
I work.
So you work and you were paying the rent. When he wasn't there, he was living with relatives.
Yes.
You were paying the rent for you and your one child.
Yes.
So you had a fight, and according to your complaint, you left.
Correct.
And when you came back, which was the next day?
Correct.
You found that Miss Baker had disposed of property of yours.
That's correct.
And the property was your TV and Xbox.
Correct.
And that's what you brought to the apartment?
I brought several other items, but those, of course, were the more valuable things.
And Miss Baker says, in response to that she took those items to the pawn shop because she needed rent money and she wasn't going to make herself homeless, so she sold your TV and Xbox.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He took your laptop.
Yes, he did.
Why isn't it your joint laptop?
Because I bought it specifically for me. It wasn't bought for the house.
Did he ever use it?
Yes.
Yes. Then it's your property. Joint.
Real people. Judge Judy.
DeMonte Walker says ex-girlfriend Alexis Baker owes for selling his belongings and making false accusations. Alexis is countersuing for a laptop and harassment.
Go ahead.
The police said that.
I don't care what you don't tell me what the police said. When the police go to law school, they can tell you what you can take advice from them. But you can't take his property out of spite, which is what you did. Because if you were living in the apartment alone and managing the rent yourself because you work, in one day you weren't so desperate as to have to take his property, not your property, his property to the pawn shop and dispose of it. Can't do that.
But it was our property because we lived there together.
I don't
And the
care. If
TV he actually bought for my son for his birthday.
That's baloney. If he left and took all the furniture, and if he said to me, we lived there together, so it was our furniture, what would you say? You would say it was my furniture. I bought it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, the law is fair. It is gender neutral. You can't say it's our property because he brought it into our house, therefore it became our property. Just as he couldn't say to me, I took all the furniture, the couch, the bedroom set, the table and chairs, because it was our apartment. Would you think that that was ridiculous?
Yeah, but that's how it happened. They let him take my keys and my credit card and said we lived together, so it was his too.
No.
That's not true, Your Honor.
No, because you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is for a laptop, because you say when he came back to the apartment, To get the rest of his things that you hadn't pawned, he took your laptop.
Yes, he did.
Which I did.
Well, just a second. Why isn't it your joint laptop?
Because I bought it specifically for me. It wasn't bought for the house.
Well, just a second. Did he ever use it?
Yes.
Yes. Well, if he ever used it like you watch the TV, then it's your property. Joint. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. And I think you do understand. So, when did you buy the TV? How much did you pay for it?
I bought the TV in about September. I paid about $400.
Show me.
I actually don't have the receipts with me for the TV, but I do have estimates. I have printouts. On the way here, my one of my suitcases was lost.
Okay, so you bought a TV. What size TV did you buy?
It was a 43-inch TV, LG.
And when you bought it, it went right into the apartment?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that right?
I brought it home, yes.
How did you get that 43-inch TV to the pawn shop?
My mom helped me.
And what did you get for it?
For the TV and the game.
I bought that earlier last year, and I paid about $500 for that. It was a limited edition Xbox Halo.
She owes you $500 for the things that she pawned. Now, let's get to the laptop. Did you return the laptop to her?
I did return the laptop.
Did he return the laptop?
Yes.
So you don't have money owed for a laptop taken without permission. Now, you have punitive damages for harassment. You have 2 seconds to tell me about the harassment.
Yes.
She does.
Oh, sorry.
The day he came to the house after the incident happened, he showed up to the house with a gun. And I felt threatened by that. And I also told the police that I felt threatened by that.
Good.
He was
Let me
mad
ask you
because
this
his
question.
stuff was gone.
Let me ask you this question. He has a license to carry a concealed weapon.
Yes.
And he had the gun in your house for all the time you lived together?
No.
You never saw it?
No.
Really?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, where did you leave the concealed weapon?
I kept this gun with my at my mother's house. This incident, I had actually just purchased this firearm that was with me, and I had just left the gun range, and it had just...
Okay.
But she could not see it. She could not see the gun.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Did you take it out?
I did not take the gun out.
Did he take it out?
He didn't take it out, but he lifted his shirt up so I can see it.
I didn't lift the shirt
Just
up.
a second.
That's a lie.
Did he take it out? Did he point it in your direction? Did he threaten you? You felt threatened. Is that what you said to me?
Yes.
Felt threatened. Oh, okay. You don't get paid for that. You owe him $500 for the things that you sold, and you got your laptop back. What?
Can I just say this before? I just want to mention that the TV was worth $400.
Good.
The
Show
Xbox
me
was $500.
all you have to. I don't know what it's worth, sir. All I want you to do is show me the receipts for it. You don't have the receipts for it. You don't have the receipts. I'm awarding you $500. Do we understand each other?
I understand.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always excused. May step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Tragedy at the dog park.
My dog was severely injured. She told me that this dog in question had gone after her infant daughter previously.
If my dog went after my infant daughter,
the dog would be dead.
Judge Judy.
The items were ours, so I had the right to sell them.
My items, I purchased them. I put them in the house, you know, so no one should have the right to just take my items like that.
I hope we can just put this behind us and focus on the kid, because that's what's important.
Our children are everything, and, you know, I think that we can work it out and, you know, raise our children.
Did Mr. Kirkland ask you to marry?
No, never.
An ex's reason to never commit.
She was neglectful to my children, and she abused them.
I'm not buying into this story that you're telling me.
Or is he just dragging this mom through the mud?
According to you, when did she start abusing the children, sir?
This has been an ongoing process.
Well, then you don't have 3 children.
She's pregnant with a child that she told me could be 2 or 3 other different people's.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Joseph Kirkland is suing the mother of his children, Jessica Torres, for stealing his money and property, plus identity theft.
Order. All rise. This case number 539 on the calendar, the matter of Kirkland versus Torres.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Mr. Kirkland, how long have you and Miss Torres been living together?
For about 7 years, Your Honor.
And you have 3 children together?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
4, 3, and 7 months.
What kind of work do you do?
I build custom cars for wounded warriors, paraplegics, citizens with disabilities. I'm also a landlord. I have rental properties.
Have you ever been married?
I work for Walmart.
How long have you been working for Walmart?
I just returned. I had a baby, my 6-month-old.
Were you working while the children were little?
I wasn't working the last year and a half.
Prior to that, you did work?
Prior to that, yes, ma'am, I did work.
I'm just curious, is there any reason, Ms. Torres, that you didn't finalize this arrangement with a marriage?
My mother and my stepfather lived together, unmarried, for 30 years, and they had a very healthy marriage, so...
Well, they had a very healthy relationship.
Well, relationship, yes. They had 4 children, loving home. To me, it was just a piece of paper. As long as the home is loving and the kids are happy and provided for, to me, that's all that mattered.
Did Mr. Kirkland ask you to marry?
No, never.
Is there any reason for that?
Yes, ma'am. She was pregnant with a child that she told me it could be 2 or 3 other different people's.
And?
She was neglectful to my children and she abused them.
Well, then that would make you a fool. Because if she was neglectful to a 4-year-old, then you wouldn't have a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old with her.
I wanted to keep our children together for our family. I wanted to keep our family
You didn't
together.
have all the children. According to you, when did she start abusing the children, sir?
This has been an ongoing process for
Well, then
for a
you
lot of
don't have
years.
3 children. So my question to you is, why didn't you ask her?
I was waiting until the time that she got healthy enough to be a good mother for our children. I didn't want to give up hope on my family.
Sir, you don't have a family, so I'm not buying what you're telling me. I just want you to tell me, I'm not buying into this story that you're telling me.
We have 3 children, so...
Well, you didn't have 3 children. If you said it was an ongoing process, you only had 1. You mean she wasn't abusive to the 1, only when she had 2? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase the question?
No, I don't have to rephrase the question. Okay. I now know who my people are. I'm getting to know who my people are. Okay. Who are you?
I'm his father.
You're getting to know that I'm getting to know who the people are, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now we have a custody case that's ongoing. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the custody case, you say, in your complaint, emanates from the fact that you took your 2 children and escaped their abusive mother. And while you left the home with your 2 children to escape an abusive mother who is 9 months pregnant, she emptied the bank account and sold some of your tools.
For the most part, yes, ma'am. That's pretty much true.
And let me tell you this, sir. I don't care. She says she emptied your bank account and sold your tools because you left with the 2 girls. She just came home from the hospital, which you don't deny because the baby is 7 months old and you say that you are the father. And she had no way of supporting the household. So she sold her tools and she paid bills with money that was in the bank.
That's not correct, Your Honor. Actually, I gave her $8,000. She was squatting in a house. That was my
Just a
dad's.
second.
We left. It was in July.
Explain that to me.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I came home on July 10th. I was playing with my daughter, a 4-year-old, and as her shirt came up on the back, her entire back was covered in bruises. I asked her what happened. She told me that her mother had hit her. Bailiff, do you
I'd
mind
like to
giving
take
that
a look at it.
To the judge, please?
I mean, I'm not getting involved in all of this because you're in the middle of a custody dispute.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can't see anything here. I assume you took the child to an emergency room.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I didn't want to put the mother of our children in jail.
Return that to him? Tell me about the $8,000.
The $8,000 was a loan I gave him in October 2nd of 2014. He owns rental properties. He was 10 months behind on the mortgage, and he was about to lose it. I had just quit my job, and I cashed in my 401k, and since he was the main provider, I loaned him the $8,000.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is in 2014, you stopped working, and you have proof of that.
Yes, ma'am.
That you had a large cash payout.
Yes, ma'am.
And you allowed him to use it with regard to rental properties that he was behind in.
Yes, ma'am.
That's too good a story to make up, Mr. Kirkland. Too good a story to make up.
Unfortunately, it's not exactly true.
Too good a story to make up, Mr. Kirkland.
She forced me to sell a rental property house.
You better start doing better, Mr. Kirkland, when you go before a judge in your custody case. And I want to tell you, I think that when fathers fight for custody of their children, there's usually a reason, and I always pay attention and listen to them. There's something about your story that doesn't have a ring of truth to it, sir. That you gave her $8,000 to start a new life. Don't buy it. That has a ring of truth to it.
I wanted to relieve the contention. Every time I'd come home with the children, she'd be yelling, she'd scream in front of the kids.
Listen,
They'd take
this
off
isn't a
running and
custody
crying
case.
and go to the
This isn't a custody case.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's left to another venue. You are saying that when you took off with the 2 children, she sold your tools and paid bills out of your bank account, which she acknowledges that she did, in order to pay the household bills because you had taken off with the 2 children.
Your Honor, it was proven by the bank that it was fraud. We were never married. We didn't have common law.
I don't care. And I'm not giving you any money. Take that up with the custody court. I'm not giving you any money. Did you take off with the 2 children? And where did you go? When did you take off with the 2 children, and where did you go?
All those details are being explained in our custody.
Fine, then your case is dismissed. Now you have a countersuit.
Yes, ma'am.
And your countersuit is for lawyer's fees, moving costs, punitive damage for kidnapping the children. I'm not getting into that. Do you understand?
I understand, but
Good.
If I can just explain
something.
What? All this that I'm suing for is all the stuff that he put me through.
I don't care what he put you through. Just like I don't care that you emptied his bank account to pay your family's bills. Oh, you don't? Just a second. You want me to read
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you wrote?
I can prove to you I did not empty his bank account.
Okay.
There was only 3 bills I paid, which were bills that he promised me he would be paid.
So what difference does it make? You used a bank account that was his.
But I had access to it.
Can we speak about our tools?
I don't care. I don't care.
These are the tools I use to build vehicles for handicapped people.
I've just dismissed your case.
Okay, I thought you were dismissing the money, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the tools.
I'm dismissing every part of your case.
Okay.
Sir, you choose not to answer a question that I posed to you because you said to me, that's being taken care of in the custody case. How am I supposed to try this case if I have questions?
Well, I understand where you're coming from.
Good, I'm glad.
I didn't understand that had to do with my personal case in terms of my money.
You have no personal money. When you live with somebody for 7 years and make 3 children with them and then take off with the children, that you're going to explain where you went and when you went there to another judge. I'm not interested.
Correct. I did that to
understand?
protect
Good.
our children.
Then we're done.
Because they've been abused.
You and I are done with your case. Okay. Now, you don't get punitive damages for him taking the children because they're his children. Just like you could take the children if you wanted to. You wouldn't be kidnapping.
No.
And you had to hire a lawyer for?
I had to hire a lawyer because after he took the children, he sent his father over to my house to like mess with me with my
Your Honor, it was never her house.
I don't want you to speak.
Okay.
Just a second. I'm sorry. He kept sending people to the house.
Just a second. You can't tell me that he sent people to the house because you don't.
To cut my power, my electricity completely.
Next. What's next?
And then he called CPS several times on me. He's tried to break into the house while I was still living there to throw my stuff out.
Where are you living now?
I'm living out in an apartment, but at the time I had just had a baby. I could barely walk, and they were harassing me.
You see, that's what happens. That's one of the advantages, Ms. Torres, of getting married, of memorializing a relationship. So in spite of the fact that your family has a history of living 40 years together blissfully without benefit of marriage, that's what happens when you do have a marriage. You have courts to protect you. When you choose not to enter into a marriage, you're now living in an apartment with your 3 children. Is that correct?
4. I have 4 children total.
So
one is not his.
And how old is that child?
She's 9.
Did he leave that child home when he left with the 2 girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did he leave that child with?
She was with her grandparents while I was in labor, and our 2 children were with his parents while I was in labor. Morello, Texas.
And where do you live?
San Antonio, Texas.
So how far away is that?
It's a 5-hour drive.
It's 9 hours, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Your case is good.
Yeah.
Case is
10-hour
dismissed.
drive.
Your counterclaim is dismissed. Good luck to both of you with this custody case.
Thank you.
We're done.
That's all that really matters.
Excuse me, step out.
We all make mistakes in life. My mistake was not wanting to put the mother of their children in jail.
Horrendous. I do not wish this upon anybody.
Unfortunately, yes. I have a big heart. I'm a caring guy. I wanted to protect my children.
It's the most difficult thing for a mother to go through is not knowing where your children are.
But on the other hand, I wanted to allow them to have access to their mother.
And nobody being able to help you find them.
And seeing the kids having to see their mom behind prison bars.
And nobody being able to help you take him back just because he's the father.
I don't think that would have been healthy for him.
I just want to move forward and be happy with my daughters.
No, I was totally within my rights, and it was the best thing to do for the children.
But they will never leave my sight again.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Barnett versus Williams. Step forward.
Gregory Barnett is suing his former best friend, Joseph Williams, for stealing money from his bank account and selling his belongings while he was in jail.
Mr. Barnett, you were living in the defendant's apartment, and in July of last year, there was some sort of an incident. According to what I've read, you were arrested. Actually, all three of you were arrested. You, Mr. Williams, and the boyfriend were arrested. Mr. Williams had nothing to do with the incident involving your boyfriend or the weapon that was found in the house, so he was released later that day. You, on the other hand, spent several months in jail. And your complaint is that while you were in jail, he either disposed of some of your stuff, kept some of your stuff, and drained your bank account. So you want a total of about $4,000. Mr. Williams says that he got rid of all the stuff that was there after a period of time. He did, in fact, use money from your bank account, but that was to pay your bills. Now, he has a counterclaim. The counterclaim is for damage to the apartment that you and your boyfriend did when you had this kerfuffle at the apartment. And in addition, because of you and the boyfriend, he spent a day in jail. Do I have the case pretty well down, Pat?
You got it. Like that.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I guarantee you that you are no greater a friend to Mr. Barnett than I am to my best friend. And yet I don't know her banking information. So you want to try something else with regard to the banking information.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gregory Barnett says stole his money and sold his belongings while he was in jail. Joseph is countersuing for damages to his apartment and a false arrest.
Now, how much did he take out of your bank account?
$2,848.
How did he get access to your bank account?
I gave it to him.
You gave him the card?
No, I didn't give him the card. I let him know the code. Like, I know his code, he knows my code.
So he know. When did you give him the code?
Probably like 5 years ago. Like, it's been a long time. We've known each other for a very long time.
Let me tell you this. I have a best friend since we're 9 years old. We've been best friends for decades. I don't know her bank account information, and she doesn't know mine. There's just no need for that, for her to have my bank account information so that she can go to my bank and I can go to her bank. You want to try another story?
And we more than friends. We're brothers. Like,
You're brothers?
More, yeah, we're more than friends. We're brothers.
When you say brothers, brothers to me means related by either blood or adoption. Are you related to Mr. Barnett by blood or adoption?
No, not.
Then you're friends. I guarantee you that you are no greater a friend to Mr. Barnett than I am to my best friend. And yet I don't know her banking information. So you want to try something else with regard to the banking information?
I gave it to him. I trusted him enough. Like, maybe there's a day I can't get to the bank and I need someone to go to the store and pick up some money out of the ATM. He would do it for me.
Well, that's what he did when you were in jail. He took out money from your bank account.
But I didn't give him permission to. He does it under my permission.
If you gave him your PIN number, he said he paid your bills. What bills did you pay?
I pay a cell phone bill.
How much?
It was probably like $50.
$50. Go ahead. What else?
And then that's pretty much.
Well, $28.48 was taken out. $50. I give you $50. It's $2,800.
And then it was like also bills that was put onto my house, like my electricity bill that I had to pay from him.
Well, then you can't do that. Those are your bills, not his bills.
But by the end of the day, they were still staying with me.
What?
By the end of the day, they were still staying with me.
I don't care. They were your bills.
Okay.
So you took $2,800 out of his bank account. Good.
I mean, I didn't take that amount of money out.
You didn't? How much did you take?
I probably took out a few hundreds.
Oh, well, show me where the withdrawals were made and tell me from what date to what date you were incarcerated.
I was incarcerated from July 28th of 2015 till November 23rd. That's all the statements of things that he did with it.
You like to eat at the High Hope Deli?
That's my store on my block.
So you like...
Didn't slide the card there. I was getting money out the ATM there.
Oh, well, then these are all your bills. And these are all while he was in jail. Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's when a few minutes later, the cops came and they locked all of us up.
Why is that his fault?
Because I told him, don't be fighting in my house. Don't be doing this, don't be doing that. This is not the first time this incident happened.
He's your brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Gregory Barnett says former best friend Joseph Williams stole his money and sold his belongings while he was in jail. Joseph is countersuing for damages to his apartment and a false arrest.
Now, you must have been angry with him when you got arrested.
No, because after I got rid of his stuff, that's when I got rid of the car. Now, after the car, I don't know what happened.
How did you get rid of his card?
I just threw it away. I don't know, maybe his boyfriend been using it or something like that. I don't know.
$2,800.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
I was told that all my clothing were sold.
You can't tell me what you were told. Mr. Williams, what did you do with his stuff?
I took it to the Goodwill.
What about any of his electronics that were there?
With that, I got rid of that too. That was in the suitcase too.
I don't believe that, sir. Why would you give away his laptop?
Oh, that's my...
Well, getting rid of it, you didn't give it to Goodwill. You sold it.
That I got rid of. Now,
So I said you didn't give that to Goodwill.
Okay.
You sold it.
Okay.
Certain things, you know, maybe are believable, certain things are not. So the iPhone 6 you did not give to Goodwill. What did you do with it?
I sold it.
Yes, good. Well, that's
I had to get it out of my house.
Okay, so you sold it.
What's the cackle?
Who did you sell it to?
Huh?
Oh, you mean, huh? Who did you sell it to?
To an electronics store.
How much did you get for it?
50. No, I'm sorry. It was like 200, and I paid the electricity bill.
Okay. Now, Mr. Williams, you have a countersuit for damage to your apartment. Do you have photographs of that?
Yes, I surely
I'd like to
do.
take a look at it. Get a little spackle.
What's that means?
Get spackle. Spackle.
Oh.
You know what
Plaster.
spackle is?
Plaster.
Plaster. You
Yeah, I
get
don't
in the
know
store.
nothing
You get a
about
little
hardware.
tiny container. Wait, Bert is going to be very impressed. You get in a little tiny tub, and along with it, you buy a thing for probably $1.98. And you take the stuff out, and you fill in the crack or fill in the hole, and then you go like this, and then you let it dry.
Oh, that's too much work.
That's too much work. I
I've
know. It's
offered
not
to
too
do
much
it
work for
for
me.
him.
Now, responsible for your arrest.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you want to tell me why you think he's responsible for your arrest?
Because my name was on the lease, and he was living there. When I came up to my apartment, all this stuff was happening, and I was trying to figure out what happened. That's when a few minutes later, the cops came, and they locked all of us up.
Why is that his fault?
Why is that his fault? Because I told him, don't be fighting in my house. Don't be doing this, don't be doing that.
He's your brother.
Yeah,
Did you think this was going to be easy, Mr. Williams?
No, it's just like...
That's why you know, you come here, you come from New York, is that where we flew you in from?
Yep.
Right? So we flew you here, put you up in a hotel. You know, you're in the land of sunshine. It's a little warmer here than it is in New York, right? A little warmer. You thought it would be a good time. You have to face me. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's $2,800 for the bank account, and the other $200 was for the electronics that he sold. The counterclaims dismissed. We are done.
Are you sorry, excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He was required to live in a
Turn.
You did not take the requested drug test, so they threw you out.
Yes.
What are they supposed to do? Give you a dinner?
Judge Judy.
Called the police on me, and they took me to jail for...
Yeah, the police showed up that day.
A firearm that was not even mine to begin with, but I...
And they locked us all up. What do you mean? You heard what happened in there?
took the rap for it to save my best friend and to save my ex and stupid.
By the end of the day, me and Gregory gonna talk about this stuff later.
I know that we have our differences.
And we gonna try to salvage our friendship.
But I don't think it was right for him to take all my money from me.
Tragedy at the dog park.
Mrs. Cruz's dog had snapped at my dog, and my dog defended herself and bit back.
My dog was severely injured, had to undergo emergency surgery.
But to make her case,
She spoke directly to me and told me that this dog in question had gone after her infant daughter previously.
is she just making it up?
Did you say that to her?
No. If my dog went after my infant daughter,
the dog would be dead.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
This is Cassidy Crute is suing her neighbor, 22-year-old Shay Ward, for vet bills as a result of a dog attack.
Order. All rise. Ms.
Case number 488 on the calendar in the matter of Crute versus Ward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Crute, it is your claim that the defendant's dog, while playing in a dog park, bit your dog.
That is correct.
And you want the defendant to be responsible for the vet bills.
Correct.
Ms. Ward is counterclaiming for harassment. She says that sometimes these dog kerfuffles happen in a dog park. And when you go to a dog park and you unleash your dogs for them to romp around, sometimes things happen. And you sort of accept that as the liability of letting your dogs free in a park. And there may be some merit to that. I assume this is your dog?
Yes.
The offending dog?
Yes.
How long have you had the dog?
I've had her for about 1.5 years.
Has she ever bitten anyone?
No.
Has she ever bitten another animal?
No.
Were you ever cited in any way for having an aggressive dog?
Only when this issue happened.
How many dogs do you have?
2.
What kind are they?
I have my Great Dane, and then I have my Whippet mix.
And how much does this girl weigh?
108 pounds.
And they have no trouble with each other?
Nope.
That it happened.
Absolutely. This is November 24th of 2015, the week of Thanksgiving. I had organized a play date for some dogs in the neighborhood. I had specified only dog-friendly dogs to be allowed in at the time.
Okay, what do you mean you planned a
via Facebook. I made an invite via Facebook.
Did you see that invitation?
Yes.
Well, so far her dog is a dog-friendly dog because she had had the dog for 1.5 years. She had had no incidents with the dog, so she brought her dog. What kind of dog do you have?
I have a approximately 7-year-old medium-sized lab mix.
And how long have you had the dog?
I've had him for 2.5 years.
So you got him as a rescue?
Correct.
In the 2.5 years that you've had your dog, have you had any difficulty with your dog?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so both of you had dogs that you had no difficulty with.
Correct.
And you went to the dog park?
Correct.
So tell me what happened.
So we were at the dog park. There was about, I'd say, 10 to 15 other dogs and their owners there. At this time, everybody played for an hour. All of the dogs got along very well. Everybody played. Miss Ward was standing outside of the dog park with her infant daughter and repeatedly said, I don't think my dogs would do well in here.
Just a second. When you say she repeatedly said, I don't think my dogs would do well in here, you heard her say that?
I did, and I, as well as other, as my witness, heard as well. Her dogs did. She had brought them up, very struggling to hold on to both of the dogs' leashes. She had to
Where
hand
was her infant daughter?
She handed her off to a friend.
So she was with her baby, and she was standing outside watching the dogs.
Yes.
And then you say you heard her say, I don't think my dogs would do well here. And then she left the area, went to where her home was, and brought the 2 dogs back.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So at that point, Miss Ward said, I'm just going to see how they do. And I, at this point, had some reservations about it, but I thought
don't tell me what your reservations were. She came with her 2 dogs.
Yes.
And did she speak to you directly?
She did not.
She did not. Did she speak to you directly?
No.
So don't tell me what she said.
Okay.
Because I don't believe that you heard it. And I'm beginning to not believe that what you heard when you said, I don't think my dogs would do well here. I'm beginning not to believe that either.
Okay.
So let's just go with what you saw.
Okay.
Unless you had a direct conversation with Miss Ward.
Okay. I immediately, as soon as her dogs were let into the park, her Great Dane tried to grab onto a hold of my witness's dog, Mattis, and her other dog, Lily. She had her dog by the leash.
How could she grab both dogs?
The Mattis, the male dog,
no,
and then the
don't tell me what she was trying to do. Tell me what you saw.
I saw the Great Dane that is present today put the bulldog mix's head in her mouth aggressively.
Did she hurt the dog?
She did not.
No, look.
She did not.
And aggressively is something that you say, I don't.
Okay.
Something that you're insinuating that you can't, because aggressively, if she put a dog's head in her mouth, and if it was aggressive, the dog wouldn't have a head. What's the next thing that you saw?
At that point, Miss Ward pulled back on the leash of her dog to get her attention.
No. You see, to get her attention is something that you're insinuating into that. Okay. You saw her.
Yes, I saw her.
You saw her pull back on the dog's leash.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
At that point, she moved the dog over to another area of the dog park. She let the leash loose.
Okay, and?
My dog walked by her dog to go...
No. Now you're going to point to something in the room. Now you've seen... Watch this.
Okay.
Now this is what you've told me. You've told me that you saw this dog You used the term aggressively. I'm dismissing it. Take this lady's dog in its mouth. At that point, point to somewhere in this room was with her dog, which was now still on the leash.
Okay. I was standing in this area here, and I would say where the bailiff is standing is where Miss Ward was with her dog.
Okay, so about 10 to 12 feet away.
Correct.
And then she pulled back the dog and went to another corner of the park, according to you.
A few feet over.
Point to somewhere in the room.
Over there.
So maybe 14 feet away. Now, was your dog on its leash or not?
No, it was not.
Was your dog in your proximity?
Yes, he was.
How close in your proximity?
At the beginning, I would say he was at my side.
Great. And then your dog went over to where Miss Ward had moved over with her dog.
Correct.
And what happened when your dog went over to Miss Ward's dog?
Miss Ward's dog?
First of all, what did you do?
I stood there. I didn't...
You stood there?
Yep.
You stood there?
Stood there.
You stood there. Now, I want you to follow me.
Okay.
You stood there while your dog is walking over to this dog that you just saw put another dog in its mouth.
Correct.
And you just stood there.
I walked over to my dog to get him to move afterwards.
Just a second. Not afterwards. What you said was, I stood there. Okay. Now, standing there, what did you see?
I saw my dog sniffing her dog.
So your dog went up to her dog, sniffing her dog. And what did you call your dog?
I did.
Did you call your dog? Did your dog obey you and come to you?
He did not.
Keep going.
At that point, Miss Ward's dog attacked my dog and inflicted 4 to 5 puncture wounds. It took several people to get the dog away from my dog. And at that point, my dog was severely injured.
Okay.
Had to undergo emergency surgery.
Version.
When I brought my dog to the dog park, this one gets a little rambunctious, so I pulled her next to me and told her to calm down. I released her from her leash so she could roam around and whatnot. Mrs. Cruz's dog came up to my dog to smell her, to do what dogs do, and I noticed that his tail went between his legs, hackles kind of go up, him kind of crouched down. So I walked over to defuse the situation. Before I got there, Mrs. Cruz's dog had snapped at my dog, and my dog defended herself and bit back. And when that happened, I jumped into the middle of the dog fight, got my dog off, grabbed my other dog, put them in my backyard. Came back while Miss Cruz is on the phone and her dog is hidden under the benches, shaking. I got him out from under the bench while she's on the phone, made sure he was okay, put my fingers through his fur, did not see any wounds other than the one above his eye.
So he was injured.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Any normal person who didn't have a severe psychiatric disorder would not let a 120-pound daughter if the dog had gone after their daughter, so I don't believe you.
And later today...
Who was making the payments on the car?
I was, ma'am.
Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
Who paid the rent?
I do.
So he paid for nothing. When he was working, you let him live with you and take all his money and put it in his pocket?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cassidy Cruz says her neighbor, Shay Ward, owes for vet bills after Shay's Great Dane attacked her Labrador. Shay is countersuing for slander and harassment.
Okay, go ahead.
After I was pulling my dog off, the other dogs in the dog park had jumped on top of him. And while she was on the phone, I trying to get someone to come help. And then I carried her dog out. I coaxed him out from under the bench, carried her dog through her house into her car so she could take him to the vet.
Who were you on the phone with?
I was on the phone with my best friend. My husband was away overseas.
What were you doing on the phone with your best friend?
It was after the attack had happened. I had called her to come help me drive because I was so shaken up that I was not going to be able to drive my dog to the vet.
So she is correct that she got the dog out from under the bench?
That is correct.
Okay. Anything else?
As he was in my vehicle, there was blood gushing all over my arms as I carried him. So
Your
there
dog was injured?
more. Yes, there
Your dog
was
was
more.
injured?
I have photos if you'd like to
just
see.
a second. I believe you. Rule of law that covers this kind of situation. So you actually have to use common sense because that's what the law should be. Anyway, large dogs in a dog park, unless you can demonstrate to my satisfaction that Miss Ward had prior knowledge that her dog was an aggressive dog and should never be put in a situation where the dog was unleashed and out of her immediate control, I don't believe anyone that takes their dog to that kind of dog park should expect someone else to take care of their vet bills or any other damage to their dog, if you want your dog to be within your control all the time, then you keep it on a leash and you keep it in your backyard. If you choose to create a play date for your dog, you're assuming that these dogs, which are really wild animals, you called your dog and your dog didn't listen. Your dog didn't come to you, right? Correct. Because they don't listen. They're animals. And you never know what causes an animal to feel threatened. Ms. Ward says that your dog came up to her dog, which you acknowledge, and was sniffing, and her dog, in its mind, says this is an aggressive, I feel threatened, then that's what the dog does. The dog bites. And if you don't want your dog placed in that situation, don't take it for play dates in a park with dogs that you don't know. So unless you can, a dog was dangerous, your case is going to be dismissed.
I can.
Let me hear.
As we were walking to my house, I was speaking directly to Miss Ward, and she spoke directly to me and told me this was not the first time that something like this had happened, that this dog in question had gone after her infant daughter previously.
If my dog went after my infant daughter...
Just a second. Did you say that to her?
No.
Are you taking any psychotropic medication?
No.
Have you ever been psychiatrically hospitalized?
No.
No. You know why I ask that question? Because if that dog went after her infant daughter, the dog would be dead.
It's just what?
This lady would see to it that that dog was gone. Any normal person who didn't have a severe psychiatric disorder would not let a 120-pound Great Dane live in their house with their infant daughter if the dog had gone after their daughter. So I don't believe you. I think you have a vivid imagination.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You mean to tell me you want me to believe, this very intelligent person right here, that this man asked you permission to take the children to the park every time he wanted to take the children out?
Real cases, real peoples. Her neighbor, Shay Ward, owes for vet bills after Shay's Great Dane attacked her Labrador. Shay is countersuing for slander and harassment.
Okay, now I'm going to hear her counterclaim.
Right.
For slander and harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
So I assume you both live in the same community.
Yes.
And?
On multiple occasions, Ms. Crute has posted on Facebook, the community Facebook page, and slandered me and my dog.
May I see it, please?
At one point, she had dropped this letter off at 9 o'clock at night, waking up everyone in the household. And I went to seek a lawyer's help because I didn't know what to do and had a cease and desist letter wrote up so she would stop harassing us.
I have an objection.
I would just like to see the Facebook posts.
I don't have them because every time I went to go and achieve them, she had deleted them before I had a chance.
Oh, well, then I can't help you with that because that's that's the basis of your lawsuit, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think you ought to leave her alone. I've just told you that you do not have even a civil case against her. But I wouldn't take my little 3-pound Shih Tzu to a dog park because you never know. And you never know when a dog is going to feel threatened or when my dog will become what I deem friendly, some other dog would find annoying. You chose to do that. That was your choice.
Correct.
So your dog got hurt? I would assume that if you're in a park. And if you post nasty things about her on Facebook, which I actually believe that you did, although you deleted, somebody said to you, you better delete those things, it's not the right thing to do, since actually she was not in the wrong. She tried to help you. She carried your dog to the car. It was a nice thing for her to do because she felt some sort of a responsibility to you. Wasn't her legal responsibility, but she felt a human responsibility, and your reaction was inappropriate, to say the least. Your case is dismissed.
Please excuse me, step out.
My dog was severely, severely injured and is now traumatized by this event.
When you take a dog to a community dog park, you take the risk.
No more doggy play dates, for sure.
No more doggy play dates and no more cyberbullying. That's not fair.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shelley Lonin versus Santiago, step forward.
Angela Shelley and her mother, Ellen Lonin, are suing Angela's ex-boyfriend, Edwin Santiago, for totaling her car while driving her 3 children.
Miss Shelley, this is your mom, and this is your former boyfriend, and you also have 1 child together.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have 2 other children.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is your problem. You and the defendant live together with your 1 child together and your 2 children from another marriage or relationship. You bought a car. Your mother co-signed for the loan on the car filling in the blanks. You and the defendant used this car as a family. And when you bought that car and you had a loan on the car, you were required, pursuant to the terms of the loan, to maintain an insurance policy.
Yes, ma'am.
Against collision on the car. Mr. Santiago took the children out one day while you were working and had an accident with the car. The car was totaled. For some reason, your insurance that you were supposed to have didn't cover the loss. Yes. So now you bring this case here for me to find him responsible for the totaling of your car. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's get back to why you didn't have insurance.
Well, when I...
Well is not an answer.
When I initially got the car, I had insurance. At the time of the accident, my insurance had lapsed.
That's your fault. That doesn't mean he's responsible for your totaled car.
Even
that means
though
you're that means you're responsible because you let the insurance lapse.
Even with the insurance, he was not on a policy, so it wouldn't cover it anyway. Because at the time of the accident, he had a permit.
Listen to me. We both know that he drove that car with you in it, with the children, without insurance, and if he only had a permit, with a permit, because he was watching the children at home. You were working that day.
That day, he did not have permission to take the children to the state park where he took them.
I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you mean to tell me you want me to believe, this very intelligent person right here, that this man asked you permission to take the children to the park every time he wanted to take the children out? He was watching them at home.
No, but to consent, he would normally consent to taking them out when he was driving my vehicle.
No. You mean he slept with you at night and asked you if he could drive a car that he helped pay for?
I paid for the car.
Just a second. Who was making the payments on the car?
I was, ma'am.
Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
He didn't pay any payments for the car.
Just a second. Who paid the rent?
I do.
So he paid for nothing. When he was working, you let him live with you and take all his money and put it in his pocket?
No, when he could help out,
when he could help out. What kind of work did he do?
He was doing line work at a bakery.
For how long?
It was only for
How
6
long were you
months,
working at the bakery?
I was working there for 5 months. I got laid off due to transportation issues so I was working for 4 months by the time of the accident, 4 more months by the time of the accident.
And how much money did you make a week?
It was roughly between $550 to $750, depending on overtime and hours and stuff like that.
And what did you do with your money?
Whatever needed to be filled in, whatever she asked for, I gave.
Like what?
Rent, electricity, light.
How did you give her the money?
The truth is this: if my paycheck came out to $556, I kept $56 and gave her $500.
That's what I figured.
That's not true.
Listen to me. You played house. You both worked. He was watching the kids. There was a car accident. You let the insurance lapse. That doesn't mean that he's responsible. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Goodbye. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A hot-headed ex.
I broke up with him. I wasn't running around with my ex-boyfriend.
Yes, you were.
You just shouted out.
I had something to say.
Not unless I ask you.
Next Judge Judy.
He said there was an accident. I said, is it bad? He said, no, it's not bad.
It was bad.
Extremely frightening to see your 8-year-old in a full cast. He had to be medevaced to DC. It was crazy.
Everyone being alive after that kind of accident is okay.
Don't trust no one.
I'm glad everyone is.
Of what crime were you convicted and placed on probation?
Identity theft, prescription fraud, and possession.
Were you incarcerated at all?
Yes, ma'am.
An addict on the path to clean living.
He was required to live in a sober living residence.
Then,
you did not take the requested drug test when they asked you to.
Did his life take a wrong turn?
So they threw you out because that broke the rules. Well, what are they supposed to do? Give you a dinner?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jenny Noonan and her son Christopher Patrick are suing Christopher's former landlords, Shalene Erdler and Kelly Schliffers, for the return of a security deposit, rent, stolen property,
and emotional distress.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 578 on the calendar in the matter of Noonan versus Ergla Schliffers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mrs. Noonan, this is what you're complaining about. This is your son, I assume. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And he has some sort of an addiction problem. I don't know what it is. Period, because I assume he was arrested and convicted of a crime. I don't know what. He was required to live in a sober living residence, and the defendants run a sober living residence. He was living there. At some point, according to the defendants, your son was asked to take a drug test. This was after his probation period had expired, shortly after his probation period had expired. He was asked to take a drug test along with everyone else who lived in the facility. Your son, according to the defendants, declined to take the drug test, and he was evicted summarily. They packed up his things and left. You are suing for the following. You're suing for property taken without permission, I don't know what that was, refund of rent and security deposit, and punitive damages for emotional distress for putting him out. And the defendants say that he broke the rules. Those are the rules of the sober living house. And in addition, he destroyed his room. I assume they have photographs to show me, far beyond what the security deposit was, and they have a counterclaim for those damages. Is that what the case is about?
Yes.
Does that sum it up? All right, so that sums it up. Now we're going to get to some of the particulars. Mr. Noonan, of what crime were you convicted and placed on probation?
I believe it was identity theft, prescription fraud, and possession.
Possession of what?
Class B narcotic.
What kind?
Not quite exactly remember. I believe October of 2012 or 11.
Were you incarcerated at all?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
17 months.
And following your period of incarceration, you were placed on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Or was it probation or parole?
It was actually community custody, they call it. It's a little bit different, but...
Okay, community custody.
Right.
Which means you had to live in a residential facility?
No, it means that I am under the, how you want to put it, the wing of DOC. DOC tells me what to do and how to act.
Department of Corrections.
Right.
And the Department of Corrections approved their sober living facility for you to live in?
Yes, they have to approve the address I live at, yes.
They approved their sober living facility for you to live in?
Yes.
And how long were you on this community watch?
2.5 years.
Until when? And what month did it expire?
I believe it was March of last year, so 15.
Your Honor, I think it was 2014. He was well over a year that he was off probation.
Now, between the time you did not suffer a rearrest, I assume, is that correct?
No, ma'am. I was incarcerated a couple times for violations, but not under a new crime, no.
So the violations were of what nature?
Not complying with what DOC asked me to do.
You're talking about drugs, or you're talking about something else? The period of probation, for want of a better word, extended as a result of those violations?
No, ma'am.
Was not. How long did you live at the defendant's facility?
I believe a little bit over a year and a half. I'm not quite sure on that. A year and a half, 2 years.
Your Honor, it was 3.5 years.
I don't want you to answer.
Okay.
How old is he, Mrs. Noonan?
45.
He's 45. He's old enough to answer for himself. That may be one of his problems, that you keep answering for him. He doesn't seem to have a problem giving the information. You lived there for a year and a half. Did many residents come and go?
Many, yes.
But you stayed?
Yes.
You stayed for several reasons. One of the reasons is that their facility was a certified facility, and it's certified that you could stay there.
Yes.
Now, you could not stay with your mother.
Actually, I could have stayed with my mother. That was an agreement between us that would not work.
Agreement between you and your mother?
Yes.
That wouldn't work?
Mostly because there's no bus at where she lives. So I'd have to rely on her for rides to get to and from where I had to go, appointments and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The basic reason for that.
Okay. I only partially believe that, Mr. Noonan.
Okay.
Now, so you lived there for a year and a half, paid rent every month. What was your rent?
I believe it was $5.35, something like that.
Did that include your meals?
No.
How did you pay the rent?
I get earlier.
You get disability?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been receiving Social Security disability?
Approximately 15 years.
How much do you get from Social Security disability?
Just under $1,200.
So out of the $1,200, you paid them $535, and the rest of the money was public transportation, whatever you did during the day. You didn't have to get to appointments because you're disabled and you can't work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. At some point, you were asked to take a drug test.
Yes, ma'am.
You were taking drug tests, random drug tests before.
Yes, ma'am.
When required to by the defendants. That's how they sort of maintain their good reputation with the Department of Corrections, because they run a facility. And the last time you were asked to take a drug test, did you take it?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
The last time when I was asked by the defendant to take drug tests, I explained that unfortunately, I would have to do it at a later time because I had an appointment
Just
arrangement.
a second. That's not my question.
Okay, go ahead.
You may be able to waltz around your mom. You can't waltz around me. You were asked to take a drug test, and you didn't take it because you said you had an appointment.
Yes.
Well, you're on disability. You don't have an appointment that's so important that you can't take it unless it was a medical appointment, in which case, if it was a medical appointment, I'm certain they would have rescheduled it. And I'm certain that I can find out by phone call whether you're right. So the answer is you did not take the requested drug test when they asked you to.
Correct.
You said to them you reschedule it at a time when it's more convenient for me, in effect.
In effect.
In effect, right. So they threw you out.
Yes.
Because that broke the rules. Well, what are they supposed to do? Give you a dinner? Mrs. Noonan, what are they supposed to do? He broke the rules. They run a business. Their business is they can't have anyone there that they suspect may be abusing controlled substances, because then the Department of Corrections won't keep them as a certified provider who took care of your son for 1.5 years.
May I speak, please?
Just a minute. Do you understand what I just said? Then you can speak. You weren't there. Now you've heard the story. You've heard he was asked to take a drug test. He didn't take it. They packed up his things, and they said sayonara. That's what we're hearing. Is that basically the story?
Yes.
I'm listening. I'm all ears.
Okay. My son is bipolar.
Listen to me.
He has been diagnosed
Listen to me.
with an illness.
Listen to me. Not necessary. Your son lived there for 1.5 years and abided by all the rules. He stopped abiding by the rules. Don't tell me about his past illness. First of all, that's private. Not something that he was court-ordered to be in an appropriate place for him as a condition of his parole. Otherwise, he was going back to jail, where he already served 17 months on a sentence. I am certain it was not his first conviction. Certain. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as lengthy a sentence as this appears to be for what he says that he was convicted of. So, don't make excuses. Do you understand that he broke the rules and that he had to go?
I understand he was in a manic episode and he has no knowledge of his actions or anything about it. You
Then
can
he
ask
should be,
him,
just a second.
and the psychiatrist ask him. He has no knowledge.
Mrs. Noonan, then he belongs in a mental hospital.
That's where he has been.
Just a second. Then that's where he belongs. He does not belong in a sober living facility where people who are not suffering from a serious episode of mental illness are living. They're trying to get better. He may be trying to get better, but it was at a time when he was not capable of living there. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Declined to take a drug test. He was going through a manic episode, and it was exacerbated when they evicted him from the sober living facility for breaking the rules. Is that what you're saying to me?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jenny Noonan and her son Christopher Patrick say Christopher's former sober living landlords, Shalene Ergler and Kelly Schliffers, owe for the return of a security deposit and rent, stolen property, and emotional distress. The defendants are countersuing, claiming Christopher damaged his room.
Now, you want all your rent back that you paid? You don't get that. He broke the rule. What are you asking them for? What are you asking them for?
Their actions caused his rapid deterioration.
Oh, that's
and
ridiculous.
His hospitalization for 3 months.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You're not believing just like the Snohomish County does not believe in mental illness.
No, you're absolutely incorrect.
Neither does Washington State.
No, you're absolutely incorrect, Ms. Noonan. I absolutely believe in all of the diagnoses, or most of them, in the DSM-3 and the DSM-4. I'm familiar with them. I worked with them for 25 years in the family court, and I absolutely understand. They run a sober living facility. Their rules require that when we say everybody in the facility is going to take a drug test, if somebody says, I'm not taking the drug test today, and your son was very clear to me, he said, I didn't take it that day because I told him I had an appointment, and it wasn't a medical appointment. You may be making all kinds of excuses in your own head, but don't tell me I don't understand and appreciate mental illness. He broke the rules. There are other healthy people there. You know, it's as if you're saying to me, I have a child. He's 9 years old. He's in school with 30 other children. He is having a massive episode of a meltdown, and the teacher and the principal took him out of the class, which only made him worse. And therefore, I am suing the school district because they made my 9-year-old worse because they took him out of the class. What you're suggesting is, which isn't actually true, that during the time your son declined to take a drug test, he was going through a manic episode, and it was exacerbated when they evicted him from the sober living facility for breaking the rules. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes, I am.
Well, but that's not a defense. That's not a defense for not taking the drug test. And it's not a reason to sue these people. It's a reason to say, I'm really sorry that my son's fault. It's nobody's fault. Just like it's nobody's fault if you get cancer unless you've been doing something stupid, like smoking. It's nobody's fault. It happens. But it's not their fault that he couldn't stay there, that it wasn't safe for the other residents for him to stay there. Not their fault. Do you understand? Okay. Now let's talk about his security deposit. Security deposit was how much?
He didn't pay a security deposit.
Is that correct?
No.
How much did you pay as a security deposit?
$185. I have
I'd like
the
to see
receipt.
it.
This is the damage. This is the rent.
Oh, I don't know what this is. This is a wire out, $735. You wrote in here, damage deposit, $185. You wrote in
That's the
here.
first month's rent and the damage deposit joined together, and that's how I was instructed to do it.
Just show me that this was a damage
I have no
deposit.
rent receipts. They did not issue any.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It looks as if someone has poured some sort of material down the kitchen sink, like a concrete. Did you do that?
I'm not sure what that would be, ma'am.
My question to you, Patrick, is this. So far, you've been relatively honest with me.
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenny Noonan and son Christopher Patrick have accused Christopher's former landlords, Shalene Erdler and Kelly Schliffers, of owing for the return of his security deposit and rent, stolen property, and emotional distress.
Now, can I see the damage, please, that you allege he did to he had a room?
Yes. There's a upstairs and a downstairs to the building, and he was staying upstairs with, there's 2 other rooms, but there was only 1 other person in there at the time this happened.
When did it happen? I mean, did it happen over a period of time, or was there an episode?
No, Patrick was there for probably a year and a half, 2 years, and he was great. I mean, he was doing everything he was supposed to be doing, complying. He was great. I never even had to ask him for a UA. And then it just, all of a sudden, I started seeing some changes. It was like overnight almost. And then I had a social worker approach me and tell me that...
No, you can't tell me the social worker told you.
Anyway, so
I'm asking you a question, a specific question, although I'm interested in what you just told me, that he was fined for a year and a half to 2 years. So that the damage that was done to your premises, you don't allege was done over a long period of time. It was just during a short period of time.
Yeah.
What period of time?
Well, I served notice because he wouldn't leave when he was asked to.
Okay.
And so on the 20th, I went there, and so this damage happened within 3 days, after the 3-day notice.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
It's a lot. There's
photographs?
before and after pictures here.
Okay. Patrick, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Did you remove the light fixtures in the apartment where you were staying?
No, ma'am.
You did not. Do you know who did?
The light fixtures were removed from a fire that happened Before I moved upstairs. I can't remember the exact time of that.
Did the toilet overflow?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know when?
I'm not sure the exact date or time, no.
Was it in October?
Yes, ma'am.
So the time that you were leaving?
Yes, very close to that time, yes.
And you ripped up the linoleum?
Yes, ma'am.
And Patrick, it looks as if someone has poured some sort of material down the kitchen sink, like a concrete. Did you do that?
I'm not sure what that would be, ma'am.
You're not sure?
No.
You may have.
I don't have a picture of it. I don't know what it would be, no.
My question to you, Patrick, is this. So far, you've been relatively honest with me.
Yes.
Did you pour concrete down the kitchen sink?
No, ma'am. I left my room before, and my room was subsequently ransacked, and things were taken out of my room, which was what I was under the impression the lawsuit was for, and as well as there's a fee for storage of items on your itinerary there from Miss Ehrlicher here. And I was just wondering, I've called several times and asked for my items to be returned, and was told there was no items to be returned. And I have a picture of items that could be returned. So I'm a little confused.
Well, I don't want you to be confused. I just asked you if this is what your room looked like.
I don't recall looking like that, no.
Okay. And what happened with your toilet?
Several of the other occupants of the house had clogged the toilet, causing it to be a problem. It took me a long time to unclog the toilet, and it was very messy. The linoleum was damaged and pieces missing and cracked and this, that, and the other thing. And basically, the fecal matter was going to be into the flooring, into the subfloor area. And in order to get it, there's nowhere to do otherwise other than take it up, because it was already halfway up in the first place. So then soak into the flooring.
My next question to you, Patrick, is between the time you were served the 3-day notice and the time you actually left the premises, you had a 3-day notice, correct?
Yes.
Was there anything wrong 3-day notice?
No.
Was there anything wrong with the toilet on the 2nd day of the 3-day
No,
notice?
the toilet occurred before the 3-day notice, for sure.
It's before?
Yes, I'm recalling that right now. For sure it happened before the 3-day notice, yes.
Is that correct?
The toilet was about a week before, yes.
Okay.
It was.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Ms. Noonan, I'm dismissing, you understand, I'm just dismissing your whole case. You don't have a case against these people. And your son understands that as well. Is he living with you now?
He could very well be, because he has been living in a tent, and he's been evicted from there. The police came and bulldozed it. So he has no place to live right now. He probably will stay with us until he can find permanent housing.
Where did he stay last week?
In a tent.
And where is the tent located?
In the woods.
Who owns the woods?
Actually, the tribe does. Tulalip Indians.
The Tulalip Indian tribe.
Okay. Are you going to remain there, Patrick?
No, ma'am.
You're going back to stay with your parents?
Not sure yet.
Not sure?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm dismissing your counterclaim. We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Powell.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I was putting the car in reverse so that when my mom came in the car, she could reverse the car.
My 7-year-old grandchildren know that if you put the car in reverse, the car's going to move.
Next Judge Judy.
I have power of attorney to talk on his behalf.
I feel bad for Patrick. We wanted him to succeed.
I was under the impression that there was things left there that I could be returned, and that's my main objective for the court case.
He does have a mental illness, but I think when you add drugs to that, it is a problem.
She said, 15 minutes, get your things and get out.
I wish him the best.
I looked out my window, I seen black smoke coming up out of a big old fire.
A hot-headed ex.
Did he tell you why he was burning her things?
He's angry with her and she had it coming.
What was the argument about?
She ran off with her ex-boyfriend for the weekend.
But their relationship had already flamed out.
I broke up with him. I wasn't running around with my ex-boyfriend.
Yes, you were.
You just shouted out.
I had something to say.
Not unless I ask you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
Christina Asbury, is suing her ex-boyfriend, Stephen Owens Jr., for stealing her property and setting her clothes on fire.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 494 on the calendar in the matter of Asbury versus Owens.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Asbury, the defendant is your former boyfriend. You claim he destroyed some property that belonged to you. The defendant says that he didn't destroy anything. He merely tossed it all out in the yard. And in addition, he says you took off with his RV. So let me go back a minute. Where were you and the defendant living?
We were living at my stepdad's property, or his house down in Ferndale.
Were you living in his house or on his property?
We were living in the RV on the property.
Whose RV was it?
It was an RV that we had purchased during the time, or he had purchased while we were together for us to live in.
So it was his RV?
Yeah, he didn't finish paying for it. He never even paid for it.
Don't speak.
It was our home. It was...
I don't care if it was your home. He's not your husband. He bought the RV.
Yes.
Okay, so it's his RV.
And I never took off with it.
Just shh. Don't sound foolish.
Okay.
I just asked you a question. I said, Mr. Owens.
September of 15.
September 15th or September?
September of 15. I think it was the 17th to be exact.
And what was the argument about?
She ran off with her ex-boyfriend for the weekend.
She says that you were angry. You would have a right to be angry.
I mean...
Okay. You have a right to be angry. I want you to tell me what you did with her property that was in the RV.
When I found out that she had spent the weekend running around with her ex-boyfriend, I tried to call her, I tried to call him, to talk to him. No answer from either one of them. I went to my trailer, I took everything that was hers, I set it outside the trailer, I loaded my car up with as much as it would fit, and I took that to my storage unit. The rest I left sitting in the yard in front of the trailer.
Now, that's your father?
This is my father, my stepfather, yes.
Your stepfather. He's going to tell me a different story.
Okay,
Shh. Just a second. And what's your last name, sir?
Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, were you at home when Mr. Owens was disposing of your stepdaughter's property?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what you saw.
I looked out my window, I seen black smoke coming up out of a big old fire. I went out there and I said, what are you burning? He said, I'm burning Christina's clothes and shoes and stuff. And I said, you can't be burning her stuff. You need to put that out because it's going to cause a problem with the fire department and everything else. And I walked away and said, this ain't right. This ain't right. And I walked away.
Did he tell you why he was burning her thing?
He had it coming.
Is that what he said to you? Just that he was angry and she had it coming?
Yeah.
He didn't tell you that she was away with her boyfriend? He just said he was angry with her and she had it coming.
What about her stuff that was in his house afterwards?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Wait. What?
Your Honor, this is after a year of him. The reason why I left, I broke up with him. I wasn't running around with my ex-boyfriend.
Yes, you were.
He was cheating on me the whole year.
That's a lie.
And I broke up with him.
I would say you should be right in the middle over there.
Okay.
I was there night prior, hanging out with her.
I don't want to hear from you. What do you think this is? I don't know where people think you are.
Especially coming from the one who ran off with her clothes. You know what I mean?
You're going to pay her $500 for all of her clothes.
How can I pay her $500 if she owes me for my trailer?
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because you just shouted out.
I'm not shouting out.
Just a second, you just shouted out.
I had something to say.
Not unless I ask you.
Well, ask me a question then.
I don't want to ask you a question, Mr. Owens.
I don't see how I can be held accountable for her stuff, and she just gets to take all mine and run off with it.
Just a second.
She's the one who told me she stole my trailer.
Your Honor.
She's the one who ran off with all her clothes from in front of it.
I have the
her witnesses are the ones who took her stuff.
I have a thing saying that I burned all your shoes. A text message from...
Again, anybody without my asking a question, I'm just going to throw you all out, which would actually be a joy for me. Do you understand?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Great. Now, that's what he's going to pay you for the clothes that he's burned. Now, I want to know, listen to me carefully.
Okay.
I want to know where his RV is.
Your Honor.
Look at me.
Can I show you?
No, you can't tell me anything.
Can I show you? He says he sold the RV. I have a text message saying I already sold it.
Just a second. So if what you're... Look.
I'm sorry.
Look over here.
Yes.
Are you on something?
No,
Do you
I'm
take
not.
medication?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
After dealing with him, I should, but no, I'm not. I have a message from him saying that he sold the trailer.
I'm just asking you a question.
Or the RV.
I said, where is the RV? If you say, I don't know,
okay,
then I'm going to turn around and ask him a question. Mr. Owens.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the RV? No, don't look over there.
Apparently,
want you to look
I do
over
not
here.
know where my RV is. When I went down there to get it, her stepfather told me that she came down with the truck and pulled it out of there.
It's a lie.
Did you hear what I said?
Shut up.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Miss Asbury says that she has a text message from you.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully. That says that you sold the... So I'm just going to ask you a question, because now you say to me, I don't know where the RV is.
I don't.
So I'm going to ask you another question before I look at her evidence.
Okay.
Did you sell the RV?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Give me the last date when you saw the RV.
Well, I'm not sure the exact date because I had to go to McKinleyville to work, and I was gone up there for about a month. When I came back, it was gone.
Just a second.
Can I say one more thing, please?
Yes.
I went through 22 phones last year, breaking them and losing them. And I'm not quite sure, but I have my suspicions about where some of them went that I lost.
I don't know, and I don't care where your 22 broken
You know what I mean?
phones
But I
were.
mean-
If you saved up all that money, perhaps you could live someplace other than an RV on your girlfriend's stepfather's property.
Where she wanted us to be.
Just listen to me. Don't answer me back. That's one of the joys of this job. I don't have to listen to people who are standing there. Answer me back.
Okay.
Now, you put your hand down. I don't want to hear you.
Okay.
Do you know, look at me, mister, do you know where the RV is?
No, I don't, ma'am.
When was the last time you saw it? Now it's on you. Look at me. Don't look up. It's
I'm trying
on
to remember
your
the date.
property.
I took off. I came home. I was gone for 2 or 3 days. I came home, the RV was gone. My roommate said...
No, don't tell me what your roommate said.
Okay.
Just tell him who was there the night before.
Proof do you have, Mr. Owens, that the plaintiff took your RV?
Her stepfather told me that. And I bet you everybody in his house would have heard it.
Just a second. When and what did her stepfather tell you?
When I went back down to Ferndale and went to the house, my RV was gone. I walked in the house. I said, Kenny, where's my trailer? He goes, Christina came and got it a couple weeks ago. It's exactly what he said to me.
Okay. Now, he said Christina came and got it a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll see the text that you want to show me.
That anybody could have wrote.
No, it's from your Facebook. Your name's
I'm going over there to behave yourself. Okay.
You remember when you told me that Mr. Owens said to you that he was angry at Christina and she had it coming? You remember? You wanted me to believe you, right?
Yes.
Because it was true. Now, when Mr. Owens came back looking for his RV, did he come to the house?
No.
He never saw you?
No.
Never came back for his trailer? No, I don't believe that. Good. Now you're going to show me a bill for the trailer.
Ma'am.
He doesn't have...
I don't.
Don't speak. I want to know when you bought it, how much you bought it for.
I bought it for $2,500 in October of 2014.
Show me.
That's a lie.
Going to dismiss your case. Your case is dismissed. You're not getting $500 for your clothes.
No,
Do you understand? You're not getting $500 for your clothes. Now I'm only entertaining his counterclaim. Do you understand? Because I told you, if you shout out again, that was going to happen. So it happened. That's what happens. That's consequence.
You're not even giving me a chance.
No.
This is crazy.
You mean in October, which is towards the end of the year, this bill of sale, they didn't remember what was 2014 or 2015? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, I'm saying that the service that they were writing on.
What? Talking about this.
People make mistakes, Your Honor.
I don't make mistakes.
I do. Everybody does.
Not in October of the year, sir.
Why not?
Maybe in January, when the year first changes, what you do is instead of writing 2014, you write 2013.
What about
if the year is just turning. But in October,
What about somebody who lives
by
on a mountain?
October, you have to be dealing with very, very slow, dim-witted people.
Exactly.
If
You
they
are
can't-
exactly right.
If they can't, well, I'm
Exactly.
not slow and dim-witted. The truth
People
of
who
the
only
matter
come
is
off
you
the mountain
deserve
twice
each
a
other.
year.
Both of
You know,
you.
can
I
I
don't believe
please-
this. Your
can
case
I-
is dismissed. Yours too. We're done. Goodbye.
Please excuse me, Stefan. That girl stole everything I owned. Everything I owned. I'm talking my trailer, my home, my clothes, every piece of paperwork I ever had.
I didn't steal his trailer
Because I was mad because she ran off with her ex-boyfriend for the week. I mean, she took it.
because I loved him. And he said that he would make it right.
My friend called me and said he had just seen her in the car with her ex-boyfriend.
I never cheated on him. I stayed home every night while he was out running around on me.
Of course she thinks that I work. I'm gone all day. She sits at home and does nothing but plot on me, I guess.
And when I broke up with him, he burned all my stuff.
I thought that she was cheating on me.
And that's years of collecting and stuff.
Of course she was.
No, he's a liar.
What relationship?
I will never, ever even talk to him again. He had one chance to make right with me, and he...
I mean, I won't lie, I love the girl with all my heart. And if all it would take is I'm sorry.
That up, just like he does everything else.
And a smile, and I take her back. But she doesn't know what love is.
Am I going to protect myself? I'm not going to deal with him. He's the only person that could get to me like that, and it's just not ever going to happen.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ferrillo versus Waters. Step forward.
Brooklyn Ferrillo is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Waters, for breaking her laptop, assault, and false arrest.
This case has a couple of parts, Ms. Ferrillo. Mr. Waters was your boyfriend for a period of time. You claimed two things. You claimed that during an argument, he broke your computer, and that same night of the argument, police were called and he had you arrested for assault, and you claimed that he was the one you were arrested on his false complaint, and we compensated for that. Now, Mr. Waters, I'm not exactly sure what his defense is with regard to the computer after I read your answer, and you do in fact state that Ms. Ferrillo did assault you, did scratch you and claw at your face, which is why she was arrested. Okay, so let's start with what night this happened.
It was on the night of September 25th.
Were you living together at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been living together?
5 years.
Had you ever separated before?
No.
Had either of you ever called the police as a result of any domestic violence complaint before?
No.
Is that all correct?
Correct.
Okay. So tell me what happened on September 25th.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How'd you get a black eye?
In the struggling match for the computer with her, she had my phone. We struggled over both items. My phone.
Did you have his phone?
I did have his phone
Just
at
a
one.
second. You left that out. What were you doing with his phone?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brooklyn Ferrillo says ex-boyfriend Robert Waters broke her laptop, assaulted her, and had her falsely arrested.
So tell me what happened on September 25th.
So on the night of September 25th, I got off work at 1 in the morning, and I met the defendant at a bar where he was already in town. He tends to drink and get angry.
Do you work, Mr. Waters?
Yes.
Consistently, consistent jobs. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I met him at the bar, and he was intoxicated, and he actually ended up getting into a fight with some random person at the bar. I'm not exactly sure why they got into a fight. He started fighting, and I immediately left and went home. And then when he got to the apartment, he was mad that I had left him there, and I was mad that he was getting in fights at bars. So we continued to argue, at which point I made a comment that he really didn't like about an ex-boyfriend of mine, and he told me he was going to smash my computer. So I ran into the bedroom, grabbed the computer, put it under some clothes, and he came in and he was looking for the computer, and I'm watching him, and I saw him look at the computer, and so I ran for it, and I grabbed it, and I put it behind me, and I sat in front of it, and that's when he began to attack me and tried to grab at my computer, and there was a struggle at that point, and he eventually got to my computer, picked it up, threw it on the ground, smashed it on the ground, picked it up again, threw it against the wall, which you can actually see the drywall still stuck on the computer, and then he punched it. And then at that point...
Computer. We're going to stop here.
I picked it up.
No. We're going to start at the bar.
Oh.
Where you were a little intoxicated with somebody.
I stepped on some woman's shoes, and her boyfriend punched me in the nose twice. The fight went outside. He punched me 2 more times in the nose. Then he got in a truck and ran off.
Okay, so you were punched 4 times at the bar because you were drunk, because you stepped on somebody's shoes, and then you went home. And you're now home with a bloody nose.
No blood. Just got punched in the nose.
Did you have a black eye?
No.
The next day?
Yeah, I had a black eye the next day.
So your eye was a little shut?
From the bar?
Mm-hmm.
No. My eye was fine after the bar. I was only hitting the nose at the bar.
How'd you get a black eye?
In the struggling match for the computer with her, she had my phone. I told her, give me my phone or I'll take your computer. We struggled over both items. My phone
Did you have his phone?
I did have his phone
Just
at
a second, you left that out. What were you doing with his phone?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where did you hit him?
I believe it was in the face. I actually do have pictures of my injuries, if you'd like to see them.
The police arrested you. I'd like to see the police report.
I have that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brooklyn Ferrillo says ex-boyfriend Robert Waters broke her laptop, assaulted her, and had her falsely arrested.
What were you doing with his phone?
I grabbed his phone, and
Why?
I did I was angry. Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with his phone?
I ended up giving it back to him. That was before he smashed my computer.
Did she give you back your phone?
I got my phone from her.
Did you get your phone back?
I got my phone back.
In one piece?
Yes.
Now tell me what happened with her computer.
In the struggle for the computer, it got thrown to the ground. From there on out, I was intoxicated. I don't...
Good. So how much was your computer?
I actually have the receipt.
Right. How much was it?
$1,099.
What was the tax?
It says subtotal $1,099, subtax $60.50. Oh, so the total amount is $1,160.49.
So far, that's what you owe her for a computer. Now, who called the police?
I did.
Police arrived. What happened?
I told them about the computer, and I told them about the struggle, and that I had...
No, look over here. Now, you were looking down there. Now, police arrived, and you told them about the computer, and...
And the struggle, and that I had hit him in the struggle. And that is
Where did you hit him?
Where did I hit him?
Well, where did you hit him?
I believe it was in the face. It was... A lot was going on at the time. It was a lot happening. I actually do have pictures of my injuries, if you'd like to see them.
The police arrested you. I'd like to see the police report.
I have that as well. It's all of that.
So, at the bar, he had gotten drunk. You had just had, according to you, a couple of drinks and a couple of shots of whiskey. That's what you told the police?
Yes.
Okay. I'm reading your statement to the police. And your statement to the police was that you punched him in the eye before he took your computer.
I believe I said that at the time.
Well, you did say it at the time. I mean, the police officer would not have arrested you had you not said that you punched him in the eye and gave him a black eye. That's not a false arrest.
I guess my main point is he attacked me.
No. He didn't attack you because that's the first thing you would have said to the police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, if you called the police, the first thing that you said to the police was he smashed my computer. If somebody attacked me, you gave them a whole litany about the whole story in a relatively cogent way, although you were probably still a little loopy. But nowhere at the beginning of your story did you ever say he attacked you. You said he went after my computer, and you said that you... So, you owe her $1,099 for the computer. You're suing him for false arrest. You want double that amount. That you don't get because you did, in fact, assault him. And that's why the police arrested you. Goodbye. Thank you. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A crash puts a car owner in the hot seat.
Your defense is that it wasn't you driving, it was your brother. If you say it's your brother, go sue your brother.
My brother's in jail.
Wait until he gets out.
Judge Judy.
Don't think I should pay for the computer if I was attacked first.
Being drunk and fighting all the time, it's annoying.
But I guess I have to just take it as it goes.
He does it way too often, so I was pretty much fed up with it.
I walked for 3 miles in the cold, drunk.
We just started arguing from there, and it just kind of blew up into this huge thing.
Words were shared that shouldn't have been.
They arrested me. They told me because I punched him, they were arresting me for battery.
I probably shouldn't have been drinking.
And luckily, it ended up getting dismissed.
I actually haven't drank since, so it's been a lesson learned.
Because I told them something that wasn't the truth.
Don't do either?
And I was trying to protect him from getting arrested.
Either drinking or relationships.
Definitely have more respect for myself and don't get in relationships.
Anybody who drives around in an uninsured car would let their 13-year-old daughter drive it.
An unlicensed teen says she wasn't behind the wheel.
I was putting the car in reverse so that when my mom came in the car, she could reverse the car.
My 7-year-old grandchildren know that if you put the car in reverse, the car's going to move.
But after a crash, it's her mother who feels damaged.
They've been harassing me. They've been attacking me.
You're not the victim.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Thomas Solis is suing his neighbor, Irene Fleisman, for the cost of an insurance deductible and rental car resulting from an accident in his driveway.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 551 on the calendar in the matter of Solis versus Fleischman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Who's the 13-year-old daughter? Stand up next to your mother. It is your claim, Mr. Solis, that the defendant's young teenage daughter backed the defendant's car into your car, causing damage. You want the deductible because your insurance covered the damage cover. The defendant, if I'm getting your answer correctly, you said nobody saw her do it. These are your two defenses. Nobody saw her do it, but it wasn't that much damage, and it was an old car anyway. Am I getting your answer right? So do we get to pick which defense you have?
Yes.
Well, what defense do you have?
Well, I ran into my house. My daughter was in the passenger side. She put the car in gear.
She was in the passenger side and reached over and put the car in gear. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, her nose is getting longer. You mean from the passenger side, she reached over and went like this? Is that what you're telling me?
That's
is that what
correct.
you want me to believe? Did you have insurance on the car? Is either a yes or a no?
No.
Now, you didn't have insurance on the car. What was your daughter doing in the passenger seat?
We were going to a school event.
In an uninsured car?
I did not know my insurance had passed.
Nobody knows their insurance didn't pass. Everybody who stands over there in the same place you are, I thought I paid, I didn't pay, they got the check 2 days later, it was reinstated. You had no insurance on the car. And what was she doing driving the car?
She was not driving. She reached and put the car in gear.
Just a second. You weren't in the car. That's either a yes or a no.
No, Jack.
Or embarrass you. Those are my two choices. Do you understand?
Yes.
What's your first name?
Osiris.
What were you doing driving the car?
I was putting the car in reverse so that when my mom came in the car, so she could reverse the car. So I thought it would be ready, but... Do
you know how ridiculous that sounds to me?
Your Honor, I put the car in reverse.
I don't believe you. You want to try again. I know you put the car in reverse, but not from the passenger seat so it would be ready for your mother. That's stupid. You're not a stupid girl, are you? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Right. Then you don't put the car in reverse if you're not there, because if you put the car in reverse, even a semi-stupid girl knows that it rolls back. So you want to tell me the story again?
I was in the passenger seat, and I put the car in reverse so that when my mom could come, she could reverse, but I didn't know that. I was only 13 years old. The car started
My
rolling
7-year-old grandchildren know that if you put the car in reverse from a passenger seat, the car's going to move. They're 7. Listen to me. I don't believe her. I don't believe you. You were driving a car without insurance. Your daughter was backing it out. I don't know whether she was going to drive to a school event, because anybody who drives around in an uninsured car would let their 13-year-old daughter drive it. What difference does it make? You're judgment proof. Nobody can get anything from you. Outrageous. Out, please. On what date did this happen?
This incident happened, Your Honor, on 3/29/2015.
Can I see a picture of your car? What kind of car were you?
It's a 2001 Pontiac Sunfire.
Okay. So we have a car that's 15 years old.
But a car that was in tip-top condition.
I don't care whether it could sing an aria. It's still a 15-year-old car.
Correct.
And you're entitled to your insurance deductible. No question about that. Yeah, it's nasty, nasty. Did they increase your insurance?
Yes, they did.
Do you have a bill for the rental car?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
In fact, I have other receipts. I just bought brand new tires for the car. There's other receipts in there. They're all in order.
Just a second. All I want is the rental car. You want a $500 deductible.
It's inside.
Could you have him take out the rental car, please? You have a $500 deductible for the insurance and the rental car while it was being fixed. What?
Your Honor, I'm countersuing the plaintiff.
I don't care.
They've been harassing me.
Listen to me.
They've been attacking me. And they attacked my daughter.
You'll tell me about it. You'll tell me about it in a minute. I'm not finished with his case.
Thank you.
Did you pay him the money for his deductible? My question is, did you pay him the money for his deductible?
I offered to. That was done to their car.
This is the damage to their car.
That's not true. His wife told me that he took a crowbar and cracked out the trunk. Oh my! She told me that herself.
I don't believe
Plus, these people, these people are trying to get $5,000 out of me cash.
Please see the bill for the rental car.
Did you get both?
$500 I have. Do you still have the car?
No, it was considered total, so they towed it away.
Yeah, from a crack tail light. Total.
I'm going to dismiss your counterclaim before I even hear it. Do you understand?
I do.
My sympathy level for you is here because you lied to me, your daughter lied to me, and you were driving it around in an uninsured car.
Your Honor, we did not lie.
Oh, yes, you did.
It's in the police report. I have a police report from that day.
I don't care whether it's in the police report. That's what you told them. You told them
and
that
they told them a different thing, too.
Listen to me. You're not the victim here. Your daughter caused damage to their car and with your car, and you weren't insured. You're not the victim. You can paint it whatever way you want. You allowed, if I believe your daughter, which I don't, that she was in the passenger seat, and in order to, she put the car in reverse so that when you hopped in the car, it would already be in reverse. If I believe that, you allowed a very dull-witted teenager to sit in the passenger seat of a car with the keys in it that was uninsured. And everybody knows when their car no longer has insurance. They only get dumb when they're standing over here. Everybody knows that they didn't pay their insurance, and they were notified that they have lapsed insurance and it's no longer covered. So, but even if I believe you that you didn't know, you still didn't have insurance and allowed a circumstance to be put in place where his property was damaged. That's
$25 damage because it was cracked the tail, like that's it. And that's the only thing I made.
Just a second. Did you pay for it?
I offered.
Just a second. Not offered. Did you take the money out and pay for the cracked taillight?
I didn't because they wanted $5,000 out of me.
No.
When I denied to pay $5,000, that is very true.
Listen to me. They're not even asking for $5,000 here.
That's right, because they couldn't prove it more in the court. They couldn't
Enterprise, $193.
And I have two from Enterprise, Your Honors, because at the previous time we had already arrangements to go on vacation. That when we came back, because our insurance told me not to move the car until they took pictures of it and they brought an assessor to look at the damage.
$693.
From a cracked tail light.
That's what it cost you, $500 deductible, but you lost on the value of the car because they valued the car and they took off the deductible. Okay, now let's hear about your countersuit for harassment. He gets $693 for the damage your daughter did to his property and his inconvenience in having to rent a car. Now you're suing for $5,000 for harassment.
Your Honor.
I'm ready. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. These people, after they tried to get $5,000 out of me, I said no. They kept harassing me. They came to my house. They are drunk. They have a bunch of gang members. They have parties in their house, and they harass me. I have proof. I have proof. I have the police reports right here, and I also have audio from their attacks. I want to play it for you, Your Honor, since we only have...
I'm ready to hear it.
That's ridiculous, Your Honor. That's not me.
That's not me. That's not me.
Next. Turn it off. Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you tell the police that you were giving them your insurance?
I did not know my insurance had passed.
I don't believe you. Trust me, I don't believe you that you didn't know you had no insurance.
And later today,
you didn't have a car, so you asked Mr. Currington if you could borrow his car.
Actually, he offered.
You mean he had a crystal ball, and the crystal ball said, Miss Reese has to go take a drug test. She doesn't have a car, so I'm going to offer her my car.
Closed captioning is provided by...
Attention, if you've had an IVC filter placed in you to prevent blood clots, the FDA warns these filters can fail and cause serious injuries and even death.
If you have a blood clot filter, you are at serious risk. Call the Goldwater Law Firm right now.
If you have a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Call us right now.
If you or a loved one has a blood clot filter, call 1-800-207-6000. That's 1-800-207-6000.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Thomas Solis says neighbor Irene Fleisman owes for an insurance deductible and rental car. Irene is countersuing for harassment.
Okay. I have the police reports right here. Also, the original police report from the incident.
Just a second. I'm going to look at the police reports. Just hand them to me. When the police came, when this incident happened, did you tell the police that you were giving them your insurance? You apologized to them for what your daughter did, and you said,
correct,
here's the insurance.
Correct.
And then the police left because he said to the police, I don't want to prosecute, just
because
let
we're
her...
neighbors.
Shut.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Just let her take care of it. So you said, here's my insurance. But you had no insurance.
Correct.
So the police left and you had no insurance. I'm just getting the facts straight.
Correct. I gave them my insurance information. I did not know my insurance had passed.
I don't believe you. Trust me, I don't believe you that you didn't know you had no insurance.
From the harassment that I suffered from these people, they pushed my daughter, regardless of what I owe from the crack tail light. They pushed my daughter. She was 13 years old at the time. This little one, they also pushed her. And my sister is a witness, eyewitness of that.
Just a second. Who pushed you?
I'm not sure if it was the plaintiff's wife or if it was the sister, but someone did push me. And I was.
So you're not sure if it was the plaintiff's wife or his sister, but someone pushed you. Someone pushed you.
I was against my mother's car.
At the time of this incident or at another time?
Another time.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
Nighttime.
Was there one person or more than one person?
More than one person.
How many people?
About 15.
And somebody put their hands on you and pushed you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That came out from her house, Your Honor. This was Christmas.
Christmas.
Okay.
I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
It's a car. Shouldn't involve anything more than that. And is that what your mother is referring to, that somebody pushed you?
Yes.
Stand up. Tell me your first name, please.
Genesis.
Your mother said somebody pushed you?
Yes.
When?
On the same day that they pushed her.
Who pushed you?
I'm also not sure if it was the wife or the sister.
Okay, now you can sit down.
Your Honor, we're not familiar with the family, so we don't know who pushes. We don't know the exact name.
I don't know either, but you can't collect from them if somebody else pushed you. If you don't know who the person is that pushed you, you can't allege that it's her. Do you understand?
Yes.
It wasn't him. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $693. The counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
I know I was going to win before I even came in.
I saw my car rolling down slowly and tapped their car.
I didn't file charges against her because we're neighbors, but for her to come out with something was just nonsense.
They did more damage to their car, and then they...
13 years old, I don't know how to drive a car. I don't know how to handle the car.
I hope she moves.
I just wish they find peace.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Currington versus Reese. Step forward.
18-year-old Kyle Currington is suing his former best friend, 18-year-old Abigail Reese, for damaging his car on her way to take a drug test.
All right, Miss Reese, I'm going to start with you. Mr. Currington was a friend of yours. You worked at the same place. What kind of place did you work at?
We worked at Walmart.
Are you still there?
No, I'm not.
Is he still there?
I am.
How long did you work at Walmart?
A year.
Why were you being drug tested?
I got a promotion.
And the drug test was part of the promotion?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the date that they told you to go and take a drug test.
October 15th.
13?
Yeah, 13th.
It was October 29th.
29th or 13th?
29th, I guess.
Did they spring that on you in the morning?
Yeah, it was a sporadic
random drug test.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to take it for a promotion?
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do that, but that sounds fine to me. You didn't have a car. So you asked Mr. Currington if you could borrow his car.
Actually, he offered.
Well, how would he know when you say he offered? You mean he had a crystal ball, and the crystal ball said, Miss Reese has to go take a drug test. She doesn't have a car, so I'm going to offer
me and said, I'll come pick you up, and I'll take you. I'm like, no, like, Kyle offered me, and I can just take his car. And I was like, okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
After my drug test, I came back out and I noticed it.
There we go. Now we're getting to a story that you're making it a little more consistent with what you said in your answer. Do you think this was going to be easy?
No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kyle Currington says former best friend Abigail Reese damaged his car on her way to take a drug test. Abigail denies causing the damage.
Okay, how did his car get damaged?
He wrecked it.
What?
He wrecked it.
That's not what you said in the answer. I'm going to ask you one more time. That's not what you said in the answer.
Like, he wrecked it. Like, he told me that it was already there when I came in and that the damage was already there.
Well, again, what would he be talking about damage for if it was already there, Miss Reese?
Like, I went into work that day.
No, not like. Not like. If damage was already there, then he wouldn't have mentioned it to you. That doesn't make sense. Do you understand? If I said to Officer the shop, take my car, and Officer Bird says thanks, and he takes the car and he brings it back, and I had an accident in the car before, so I look at it and it looks exactly the same as when I gave it to Bird, so I wouldn't say anything to him. But if there was damage that didn't look like it was there before, I would say, Bird, how did that happen to my car? Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Now we're going to try to think back of what we wrote in the answer and tell me how his car got this little thing in the bumper.
I went in to take my drug test, and I came out, and I saw the crack, and I was panicked. Like, he was my best friend. I didn't want him mad at me.
First you say you heard a noise.
Yeah, I heard a car alarm.
What noise?
A car alarm.
And whose car alarm was it?
It was Kyle's.
There we go. Now you're starting to remember what you wrote.
Okay.
No. Okay. So that you came out of the drug test.
Yes.
Because you heard a car alarm going off.
Someone came in and said, who's the owner of a Dodge Dart? And I said, I was driving, that's mine. Went outside, shut it off. Did not notice anything until after my drug test, I came back out and I noticed it.
Noticed the what? Now we're getting to a story that you're making it a little more consistent with what you said in your answer. Do you think this was going to be easy?
No.
Hmm?
No. No, I didn't.
You have a picture of the crack in the bumper?
Yes.
May I see it, please? Do you know how the crack in the bumper got there, Mr. Currington?
Well, it's not what she just said. Actually, she was going around to different places trying to get clean pee for her drug test.
That's not correct.
Don't speak. Did you get the promotion?
Yeah.
And she went around to, it was like 3 different places to try to get clean pee. And at one of the...
How do you know that?
I learned it from one of my friends that told me.
Do you have any proof of that?
I don't have
Then
proof
I
of
can't take that into consideration. That's hearsay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
She came back to work and she was crying in the manager's office. And then I got called back there and she told me that someone hit it while I was outside.
Just a minute. So when she came back, she was crying in the manager's office. Mm-hmm. What's the name of the manager?
Tina.
Is Tina still at Walmart?
Yes, she is.
So if I were to contact her office...
Yeah, I was upset. He was my best friend.
Well, why would you be upset if nothing happened?
Because I didn't want him to think that I did it and then him be mad at me. Like, it was there when I...
Go like this. Right.
And I also have text messages of where she said that she was going to pay for it because she did it. And then I have estimates as well.
I want to see estimates, too. Well, you did agree to pay for it. Look at that. With your Pell Grant. Glad to see that our money is going to very good places. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $11.24. Thanks very much. We're done.
All these are excused may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The defendant attempted to hit me with her vehicle, jumped out, told me how she should have ran me over.
That, Miss Barr, is threatening.
Okay, that's your opinion.
My opinion is the only one that matters here.
Next Judge Judy.
Obviously, he's a liar.
I'm glad she saw right through her lies.
I just don't see us being friends ever again.
That's all she does is lie.
It is what it is.
Don't trust anyone and don't let anyone use your car.
A crash puts a car owner in the hot seat.
Your defense is that it wasn't you driving, it was your brother, but it wasn't you. That's your defense.
Yes.
Was he actually in the driver's seat?
I'm telling you, I wasn't the driver, so I shouldn't be responsible. He's suing the wrong guy. That's what I'm saying.
If you say it's your brother, go sue your brother.
My brother's in jail.
Wait until he gets out.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Alexander Mazurenko is suing Jaime Felix for damaging his fence when he ran into it with his car.
Order. All rise. Young's case number 560 on the calendar in the matter of Mazurenko versus Felix. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
All right, Mr. Mazurenko, it is your claim that the defendant destroyed your fence with his car.
Yes.
What kind of car do you have, Mr. Felix?
Well, at the time, I had the 95 Toyota Tercel.
How long had you had it?
I've had that car, I say, about 4 years.
What kind of work do you do?
I do warehouse work, shipping and receiving.
And where do you live?
I live in Gresham, Oregon.
Address?
Recently moved in there, so it's probably about 8 months.
Who do you live with?
I live with 2 roommates.
Any of them work with you?
No, they don't work with me.
Male roommates?
1 male, 1 female.
You have a relationship with the female roommate?
No.
No.
They have a family of their own, and I just rent a room.
You rent a room from them?
Yeah.
So you were living there at the time of this accident?
Yes.
And where does your mother live?
She lives in Liberty Avenue.
And how long has she lived there?
She lives there for like at least 15, 20 years.
Is she a working lady or retired?
She's working.
What kind of work does she do?
Housekeeping.
Who lives with her?
Her husband.
Is that your father?
No.
This incident occurred in October of 2015. Is that correct?
Correct.
Who witnessed the accident?
My daughter, Angela Mazurenko, and Alexander Byrne.
Could you stand up, please? No, not you. Just her. Tell me your last name.
Mazurenko.
Miss Mazurenko, do you remember the date of this incident on October 15th?
No.
You don't remember it?
The date, no.
But do you remember the incident?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what you observed.
I was with my friend. We had a sleepover, and I heard screeching of wheels, and then I heard a crash, and I heard my dad run out, and so I ran out with him, and we saw the car in the fence. And
Did you see what kind of car it was?
No.
Did you see who was driving the car?
No.
Okay. Did you see anything else?
No.
Did you witness it?
I just seen the shed before and after.
And what about you? Did you witness it?
Well, I heard the loud noise, crash noise, so I came outside and I saw 2 people standing by the car.
So you saw 2 people?
2 people was there, yeah.
The defendant?
Yes.
And one other?
And he says that was his brother.
He said it was his brother?
Yeah.
Did they look alike?
They did. I mean, it was dark outside, so I couldn't really see faces and everything, but they were.
Did they appear intoxicated?
I've smelled some alcohol on them.
On both of them. Who was driving the car?
I have no idea because they were digging the car out.
But it was this Toyota, this 1990 Toyota.
Yeah, it was a Toyota Tercel, 1995.
Okay, so what did you do next, sir? Uncross your arms.
Well, we kept talking to each other, and 3 minutes later, police showed up, so he gave me his driver license, and he took off. Then I gave all the information to a police officer, and...
Can I see the police report?
Yes.
Your answer, sir. And my notes on this case after I read your answer was that you acknowledged that your car went through his fence, destroying his fence and the shed, but your defense is that it wasn't you driving, it was your brother who looks like you, smells like you, tastes like you, sounds like you, but it wasn't you. That's your defense?
Yes, that's...
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference. It was your car.
Well,
so I don't care who was driving it. If you say it's your brother, go sue your brother.
Well, I'm not the one getting sued. He should sue my brother.
No,
because...
he's suing the owner of the car, who he says, listen to me, who he says was also the driver. Now, you say I wasn't the driver. It was my brother.
It was.
Doesn't make any difference to him. You want to sue your brother and say, listen, I just got sued by the guy whose fence you destroyed when you were drunk. Not that I believe that it was your brother, because I don't. But let's say there's a little bit of a minuscule particle up there of truth in what you say. A little teeny, little tiny particle. It doesn't make any difference. It's your car. And if you left the keys in your car, and if you left the license in your car that your brother took without your permission from your mother's house, he decided not to take his car because he was going out with his girlfriend. So instead of leaving his car where he lives,
well, to be honest,
quiet, with a couple of roommates, he brought his car over to his mother's house, and he left in his mother's house with the car, his keys, and his license, his driver's license.
My license was expired, so that wasn't...
Hey, shut up. He says he left his driver's license in the car. And you're the girlfriend? And she's the girlfriend. And he's going to lie, and she's going to swear to it, so I don't even have to pay any attention to her. Now, the bottom line is it really doesn't make any difference. Right. Because if you're the owner of a car and you leave the car in a situation, pay careful attention, listening ears, you stack in a warehouse, I'm a lawyer.
Well, there's a reason
That's what I do.
I'm telling you,
I'm a lawyer.
There's a reason
so you have to pay attention to what I'm saying to you.
There's a reason that I left the car there.
I don't care. I don't care if you were having your arms amputated, and that's why you left your car at your mother's house. It doesn't matter.
It's not insured, so I didn't take the car. I leave the car at my mom's.
It's your car. You're responsible.
For somebody stealing my vehicle?
Your car, you left it in a circumstance where it could be taken in an unauthorized way. It's your car, and if you leave it out on the street, it's supposed to have insurance.
It wasn't on the street.
By the way,
it was
I'm looking here. Don't try to out-talk me. I'm a lawyer. What do you do for a living?
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, good. You know, you're not being honest with me at all. You're not being honest with me at all.
I don't know what to tell you.
Let me tell you what, he left the car there because he's now telling me he left the car there because it didn't have insurance and he had an expired driver's license. If I'm reading through...
Yeah, I got my new license.
Just a second. Let me read you the first few things that he wrote here in his sworn affidavit. All right? Okay. Let me read first. That's your squiggle signature over here, right?
Me.
I woke up on October 10th and got a call that my car had been in an accident. I had been driving my girlfriend's car and had left it at my mother's house with the keys in it in case she needed to move it.
Well,
Where does it say? Wait, just a second. Where does it say in here, I don't drive my car, it had no insurance, I had no license, the car wasn't being driven, it was unplugged? Where does it say that in here?
I must have left it out.
I must have left it out. Great. Can I have an...
I'm telling you, I wasn't the driver, so I shouldn't be responsible. He's suing the wrong guy. That's what I'm saying.
No, you go sue your brother. Go find your brother. He doesn't have to go find your brother.
In jail.
What?
Yeah. My brother's in jail. Yes.
Wait till he gets out.
All she wants is yes.
It is. The total is right there. This is the whole estimate from the insurance company.
Sue your mother. She probably gave him permission to take it.
The keys wasn't in...
No, just a second. Sue your mother for giving him permission to take it.
She never gave him permission, so I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know that. All I know is you left her with the keys. So he either stole the keys from your mother or she gave him permission. So sue your brother and your mother.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How far does he live from work? Look at me. How far does he live from his work in the warehouse?
It's about a 20-minute drive.
Who drives him to work?
He drives, and he's been borrowing one of my family's extra cars because it has insurance.
And later today...
The first 7 times that she had to bring your dog back, it should have gone off in your brain.
The dog never done anything in the
It doesn't matter. The dog isn't supposed to be outside of your control, ever.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alexander Mazarenko says Jaime Felix damaged his fence when he ran it. Was his brother who was behind the wheel.
Okay, stand up. I have 2 questions for you. Where did you go on the evening of October 15th? Where did you go? Fast.
I came home from work and I picked up our daughter and I brought her over to his...
Picked up your daughter from where?
From my house. My family babysits for me while I'm at work.
And then where did you go?
And then I went over to Jamie's house. I usually take our daughter over to his house on the weekends.
How far does he live from work? Look at me. How far does he live from his work in the warehouse?
It's about a 20-minute drive.
Who drives him to work?
He drives.
Without a license?
He has a license. The license that was in his car was expired. It was an old license. He has a new one. And he's been borrowing one of my family's extra cars to get to work because it has insurance.
Don't believe you. Oh, just a second. Which car has he been borrowing and for how long?
It's been about 6 months that he's been borrowing it. It's my mom's old minivan.
And he takes that car to his house every day?
Yes.
Takes that car, and is he insured on that car?
It's insured through my parents.
Is he insured on that car?
No.
Now you can sit. Can I see pictures of the fence?
I mean,
There's pictures of the fence.
And he went through the fence into the shed?
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's not my fault.
It's awesome.
I'm not my brother's keeper.
I just wanted to get paid for the damages.
I'm not the guy that he should be suing, you know, he's suing the wrong guy.
I know, but that's his mistake. We all do make mistakes. So.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez versus Marshall. Step forward.
Kimberly Lepis is suing her neighbor, 20-year-old Heavenly Marshall, for medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering after his dog bit her daughter.
Miss Lopez, it is your claim that the defendant's dog bit your little girl.
Yes.
On the leg?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want him to be responsible for the medical bills and a whole bunch of other things, pain and suffering, whatever, but at least the medical bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
For your daughter. And Mr. Marshall says that although he acknowledges that his dog may have nipped your daughter, it was her fault. That's what you seem to say.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me when this happened.
September 9th of 2015.
Are you
or
next
September
door?
8th, I'm sorry.
Are you next door neighbors?
I'm purchasing my house. I moved in 2010.
And how long have you lived in your house?
About a year and a half.
Who do you live there with?
My mom, my brother, and my little sister.
So whose house is it?
My mother's.
And whose dog is it?
My dog.
And how old is the dog now?
He's about a year.
What kind of a dog is it?
A bulldog mix.
How much does he weigh?
About 40 pounds.
Has he ever been out of your house without a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
When and why?
He get out the gate sometimes.
How many times has he gotten out of your gate before he bit Miss Lepis's daughter?
It was plenty times he got out the gate, but he has never been nobody, never been aggressive to nobody or anything. But he got out plenty times, and she had to bring him back.
How many times did she bring him back?
About 7 times, I think.
How old are you, Mr. Marshall?
I'm 20 years old.
You better start acting more responsibly with your dog. Your dog's not supposed to be out of the gate. And if your dog is able to get out of the gate, then the dog should be in your house.
He's been in the house, but I let him outside to use the bathroom.
You can't. You put him on a leash and take him for a walk.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Don't you understand? If your dog is loose and has to be brought back by a neighbor 7 times before the dog bit the child.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Lepis says a dog owned by Heavenly Marshall bit her daughter.
Okay. Did you see your dog bite this child?
Yes, ma'am. I was outside watching the kids as they was playing.
Outside watching what kids playing?
My nieces and nephews and her kids.
Tell me what you saw.
I was seeing them playing around. They was playing around with sticks and stuff. And they was playing a little bit aggressively, and I told them to stop. And, you know, my dog was at the door, and they were taunting and teasing my dog.
Who was?
The kids.
All the kids. Your nieces and nephews?
All the kids. And
all the kids?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I had my back towards the door, so I don't know who let the dog out. So as they were playing, somehow the dog got out, and they were chasing the dog with the sticks and teasing him. And Natalie.
Well, now you're watching it. Just a second. So now you see the dog is out.
Yeah.
And these little children are chasing the dog around with their sticks.
Yeah.
So now you're outside watching them. You're not on 20 acres of property. You're in a little yard, right?
Yeah, it
was a little yard. So what did you do? Your dog was out. Didn't you go and grab the dog?
Yeah, I was chasing the dog around. I couldn't control how the dog was acting. He was faster than me. And Natalie hopped on her brother's back and began to kick at the dog, and the dog nipped her leg.
Can I see the medical bills, please?
Yes.
Did they quarantine your dog?
What does that mean?
Did they take the dog away and put it in a place for 2 weeks?
No, ma'am. They were, the animal control came and asked, can I take the dog to get his shots and see if he had rabies and such.
And
I took him, and everything came back. He didn't have any rabies or anything.
Had you given him all of his shots?
Yes, ma'am.
So his shots were all up to date?
Yes, ma'am.
Since this incident happened, has his dog been out again?
Yes, Your Honor. The next day, actually, after it happened, when the police came so I could do the report, the dog was loose that morning. so it was loose the morning of the 9th. After that, I did not see much of the dog. He did put it on a pretty big chain in the backyard around a tree. So then it got out one more time, and then the dog hasn't been back since.
You haven't seen the dog at all? You haven't seen him walk the dog? You haven't seen anybody walk the dog?
No, I
Where's
have
the
not.
dog?
I'm walking the dog, and the dog is now at my cousin's house.
The dog is at your cousin's house?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because of the that situation. I mean, he's a pretty good dog. I mean, he's a good-hearted dog. That was the first incident that has happened. But before he got out, nothing has happened. But the dog is a good-hearted dog. Nothing has happened before
Let me
then.
explain to you, the dog doesn't sound like a bad-hearted dog. You sound like a bad owner. Because the first 7 times that she had to bring your dog back, it should have gone off in your brain. Gee, there are a lot of little children around. I can't let my dog be in a position where my dog can get out. Got out once, maybe twice, maybe. But you said she brought the dog back 7 times before this incident. She did.
The dog never done anything. And the
It
kids...
doesn't matter. The dog isn't supposed to be outside of your control. Ever. Ever. And she tells me, and I absolutely believe her, because you didn't tell me the truth at first. She said she saw the dog loose the next day and then on a chain for a while, and then she hasn't seen the dog. I said, well, do you walk the dog? You said, yes, I walk the dog.
I do walk the dog.
When you go to your cousin's house?
No, before I gave him to my cousin, I walked the dog.
I'm talking after you gave him to your cousin.
No, I walked the dog before I gave him to my cousin. I always walk my dog.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, your out-of-pocket expenses were $248, and I don't actually think that Mr. Marshall understands. So you're suing him for a lot more, because that includes, you want pain and suffering, you want a whole bunch of money that Mr. Marshall doesn't have.
Right.
But I'm doubling this amount, because he's got to know that if he has an animal, you have to take care of it.
Your Honor, I did take care of my dog.
No, you didn't. What do you don't you understand? Don't you understand? If your dog is loose and has to be brought back by a neighbor once, that's an accident. That's forgivable. Twice, maybe could happen. 7 times? 7 times. That's what you told me. She brought the dog back to you 7 times before the dog bit the child.
But the kids always was outside when the dog never done anything before
He's
then.
an idiot. I can't help that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I swerved to avoid hitting her.
To eat my cat. He did not try to hit your car. You could be a drama queen all your life.
Next Judge Judy.
I feel like I'm not responsible because the kids was in my yard playing aggressively.
If they were being aggressive around a dog, maybe he should have got the dog inside.
He nipped her. It wasn't a bad bite.
I think it's insane to